Grace should be paying attention to this parent-teacher conference, but she's been watching CSI for free on Pluto TV. So instead, she's focused on this mysterious strand of hair.
But I don't know if there's anything.
She'll need to run some tests. Feel the free. Pluto TV.
Work out. Work that. Push that. Pull that. Run that.
You're working a full-time job and trying to grow your channel, you know how hard it can be to find time to create. What if I told you it doesn't have to be that way? In this episode, I'm sharing some of the best strategies for how to create more videos in less time. So whether you're managing a 9-to-5, a side hustle, or you're just stretched thin, this guide is designed for busy creators just like you. I'm so excited to learn from both of you today, and we've synthesized a few of your tips, and we're going to kick it off with number one, which is plan ahead, schedule tasks, and stay organized. We're talking about how do we get all the different things done when it comes to YouTube. And let's start with you, Anja, because you talk about maintain a running list of video ideas, and you kind of plan ahead when it comes to your content. Break some of your tips down that help you be more productive.
Well, I try to keep a running list. Sometimes I have one that goes 3 months out, and sometimes I don't even know what I'm going to do next week, honestly, but that's just, it's just life. And I try to work around the seasons. I mean, there's always something that I can do. In the winter, people tend to not want to bake a lot of breads in the heat of the summer. So I'm trying to do some other videos like, seasonal content, summer berries, fresh cooking, that sort of thing. But I try to sit down every so often and come up with a list of ideas. Sometimes I do use vidIQ, and I go in there and see what they suggest. I wouldn't necessarily use their ideas for, just like, I'm just going to make that exact video, but just to get my thought train going. And sometimes that really leads to another great idea. And I feel like the more ideas I can prep in advance, the better I feel about it.
And do you use any software? What do you use for calendar, or where do you write these ideas down?
Oh my gosh, I just have a stack of scrappy paper on my desk. I have little clips to keep them all together and keep them from flying or cats sitting on them and kicking them off. I'm a paper and pen gal. I have tried Trello, and I do actually use Airtable for my organizing all my affiliate codes and dashboards and what the products are, because right now I'm a member of a lot of affiliate programs, and I use them for my blog posts, and because I do have help, and so that helps me stay organized. But I don't really use anything for my video content ideas, and I use just pen and paper.
Awesome. Those are such great tips. And Shannon, you wrote something down that was super fascinating to me. I'm curious what you mean. Share any other tips on this whole idea of planning ahead, but you use this term central command. And so is that a way of staying organized? Break that down.
Okay, so Anja, I am total pencil and paper, exhibit A. This is my central command. So I love scheduling features on any platform. I am totally doing max scheduling features. Another thing that I do when I'm filming, my home base is. Let
me just so we're clear.
Yeah.
You use scheduling features like you want to make a video ahead of time and schedule upload it. And if you're uploading on social media, you're scheduling posts so you don't have to be there at that moment. Is that just
exactly.
Clarify?
Life-changing. Yeah. So I told my husband, I have this illusion that I'm everywhere, but I'm really nowhere. I'm sleeping.
This morning, someone said, dang, Sean, up early in California, because we posted at like 4 a.m. And then people are like, he scheduled the video. I'm sure he's still sleeping. I was still sleeping, but it appeared I was everywhere. Like, this guy never sleeps.
Yes.
So scheduling so powerful.
This is your life. So like right now, for example, all of my affiliate content is scheduled through the end of this month already.
Tell us about the timeline, because question number one is, are you doing this full time now? But what was the progression when you weren't, and what were you doing then? And what are maybe some insights from when this was a side hustle and you had to juggle other things, or were you able to go all in because of circumstances? Anja, do you want to start with kind of your timeline of now over 100,000 subscribers?
Yeah, I started as a side gig, and I basically viewed it as a side gig, and I didn't pour all of, what I know now into it. But I thought like, oh yeah, no, I can do it. There was a little naivete involved for sure. And then I had a pretty traumatic knee injury that had me couch bound for a while. And I couldn't do what I was doing before. I was on disability, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just do this blog and YouTube thing full time now. And so I did.
I love that. And when was that kind of threshold of full time, would you say? Like now that YouTube became and blogging became this main thing for you after it being a side hustle to being like the main thing?
Yeah, in the summer of 2019.
Shannon, I'm curious your progression from side hustle to full time, and what just kind of the overview timeline was.
Well, I'm a registered nurse by profession. And so my husband and I, after our kids were grown and flown, we decided to downsize and move closer to his parents who are aging. We moved here in 2019, got in a rental, we thought was temporary. We both had jobs lined up, and then COVID hit. We both had jobs in the healthcare profession, which ironically enough, we're not hiring in our segment because of COVID. So I took a job as a home health nurse and for pediatrics, and I was able to kind of do this on the side. I just thought this is a diversion for me. This is something I can do kind of therapeutically. I started for moms who were empty nest moms, and then it morphed into organization for people who had downsized like us, and mainly Gen Xers who had downsized from larger homes to smaller homes. And I kind of grew this following so that Labor Day I wrote this down because I had to kind of research, Labor Day of 2022, I actually went full time.
Amazing. Such an inspiring story, and cool to hear the progression. Okay, let's bring Anja back up, and let's hit tip number 2, which is batch film videos when possible. And so in looking at your notes, you said you look at your videos and you see what batch recording is. Anja, what is batch recording for you? What does that look like? Describe the process.
Well, it's always a little bit different. So I have to see what I'm doing. If I'm just doing a single recipe in a video, then it's a pretty straightforward process. I try to just have my ingredients ready and think about any tools, and I have that ready. And it's a little bit nerve-wracking sometimes because especially when you're baking something and something is missing or you mess up, you may have to do it all over again. So that's when you also want to leave yourself enough time so that you can either run out to get more ingredients or record the next day when you have good lighting again. I mean, so all these kind of things to think about. But sometimes I have a video idea and I know that I need to record over a few days and I can't just do it all in one day. But I'm also thinking about, okay, so while I'm at this, is there something that I can use in another video? And it's a challenge to keep all your footage, because sometimes I go back, I can actually show footage that I had maybe recorded 6 months ago, because now all of a sudden it's relevant for a video that I'm doing in a completely different topic, but it's almost like, you can reuse it. So sometimes you have to just be a little creative and what do you call it, resourceful, and trying to figure out what works the best.
What is your experience with filming multiple videos in one recording session or being more productive and efficient?
Definitely. And I don't always look this good. So if I have a day where I don't wear makeup every day, I don't do my hair every day. So if I have a day like today, I'm going to do some B-roll. I'm going to do some openings because I'm already, camera ready. So I try not to waste any opportunity. If I'm driving in my car and I'm going to a store where I know that, I could do some filming, I'll get a little B-roll there. And it makes everything so much easier because you're not starting from scratch every single time. So one thing that I've started doing in batches consistently is openings to my videos. And that goes to, and I'm sure Anya will agree with this, is to kind of getting your taglines. Like I always open my videos the same way. I always close my videos the same way. My thumbnails are pretty much getting a lot more consistent. And if I have to do something twice, I try to make a system around it so that I don't have to rethink, the whole process every single time.
Such a good tip. And that kind of brings us to number 3. And we've covered a few of these, but Shannon, we'll come back to you first. You touched on, you say, I like to create systems for anything that I do twice. And so you've created like templates, and just hit that one more time, even all the way down to like your newsletter, which is a little bit more advanced, but something that's very smart for YouTube creators to do. So what does this tip mean for you?
Well, I feel like we as humans, our world is so complicated that we crave consistency as human beings, whether we really know that or not. So anything that you can get for your channel that's the same every time, like you're going to change out, the writing on your thumbnail or whatever, but try to put your face on the same side of the thumbnail every time, maybe. Or try to start your video the same way. I have a tagline at the end of every video where I say, today is not the end of your story, so don't give up. And because I know that resonates with my audience. Now, are they going to watch the end every single time? No, but I always know how I'm going to end my video. I don't have to think about it. It's not awkward. I always start my videos with a quick win where I do something really quick that's an organizing tip, and my viewers come to know that, and I don't have to worry about, how am I going to start my video this time? I know, so those types of things around anything that you're doing more than twice, try to develop a template or a system. And not only for you and to streamline your work, but because your viewers crave it and they'll see you as an authority.
Such good advice. And let's jump into tip number 4, which is strategically repurpose your content. And so, Anya, we'll kick it to you. I'm curious. There's a couple of things that you do that overlap, but are also unique as individuals. You have your YouTube content, but you also have a blog and you also have a newsletter. And I'm not sure how active you are on social media. To you, how are you thinking about posting on multiple platforms? And at what point in time did you expand to that? Did you start everywhere, or did you start a little bit more narrow and then broaden up over time?
So the first question, I have started to think a little bit more about what portion of my long form content can I reuse as a short, because I have a cadence of uploading a video one a week every Tuesday morning, and that's been my schedule since early 2019. And somewhere along the line, I started adding the shorts, and every Sunday morning there comes out a short. I think I may have forgotten one because life got overwhelming. I'm like, oh my gosh, I never uploaded a short. Okay. So, but I try to think about what portion of my video can I repurpose as a short? And if I can't think of anything, I might just do a quick recipe, 30 seconds, like really short clips, like 2 seconds long, 3 seconds long, how to make the video, and then, find the full recipe in the comments or whatever. So that's helpful. And then I can use a short as a reel. Now I know that a reel on Instagram is different, performs differently than a short on YouTube. So sometimes I need to re-edit a little bit, or, sometimes I don't put the text on it and I do that later. So I have different texts for each platform. I do have Facebook. I don't have the video, whatever feature on Facebook that's coming. I think when I started in 2019, I was on all the platforms. I don't necessarily recommend that because I think it's overwhelming when you're trying to be in all the places at once. I think the better advice would be to start with one platform, get comfortable, and then branch out to other platforms. Also, see where your folks are hanging out. I know that my peeps definitely are not on Instagram so much. So for me, it's like Instagram is sort of like the bottom of my list. There are more Facebook people, so I get a little bit better engagement or traffic from Facebook. And then my newsletter, 100%, because I have a weekly newsletter and I always give a shout out to my latest video, and I have really good engagement, people sending me back personal notes, and I really love that. And especially with my latest video, that was a lot of like personal little emails that I really, really love. The connecting with people, even though I never knew who they are, and it's just through the internet, but it's still, I can still feel it. So that's super fun about it.
You're sharing so many valuable tips and insights that we can learn from, especially about what the journey of the creator business really can look like. And I do want to encourage you, if you're listening to this, one, I hope you're inspired. Two, you also might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed, but I want to encourage you, this is a process. There's steps to this. As we're learning our 7-step system inside of Video Ranking Academy, we kind of came up with an 8th R, which is not just repeat, but also repurpose. But I think the thing is you go through this process is you're not going to go through this process at Shannon's level or Anya's level at day 1. But as you keep going through, you might ask yourself on step 7, AKA 8, is it time for me to expand out? Or should I be careful and not expand out too soon? Let me just get comfortable with ranking videos. Let me get comfortable with this. And perhaps 3 months in, 6 months in, a year in, couple years in, then you start a newsletter. You don't have to do all the things all at once. Piece by piece, brick by brick, Rome was not built in a day. And so with that, I know that Shannon's got so many different pieces you're doing as well. How are you thinking about repurposing, being on multiple platforms? I think, do you also have a newsletter? And what are some of the different things that you're repurposing when it comes to your content?
I do have a newsletter. I'm getting almost a 50% open rate, which makes me so happy. And I will just say that in all this repurposing, what it comes down to is my audience. So I answer every single comment. I look at every single comment. I can still do that because my numbers aren't ginormous yet, but I try in everything I'm repurposing to remember who my subscribers are and who my viewers are, and never lose touch with that because it's easy to do. When you start repurposing, you start getting on this treadmill. It's like but it's really all about the audience. And if you're not connecting with your audience, you're going to lose your way. For sure.
Man, that's encouraging. And you just perfectly teed up point number 5, which is embrace imperfection. Mm-hmm. And I want to hear a little bit from Anya on this because you submitted, you talked about done is better than perfect and don't let perfectionism slow you down. What has been your mindset that you've had to embrace when it comes to those that maybe deal with perfectionism? Have you struggled with that? Like, I want to put the perfect thing out there and I'm putting this on the internet and I'm vulnerable to everyone potentially in the world that would see this. How have you dealt with that mindset?
Oh, 100%. And what I have found is, so first of all, you got to really be very compassionate with yourself, and we're all human beings. And I often, when I make a mistake in a video and I catch myself early enough, like you did with your earlier burp, right? You just joke about it because everybody heard it, right? And if you pretend like it didn't happen, then it's kind of awkward. Then it's almost like a white elephant in the room. But you're like, oh my gosh, did that just come out of my mouth or something, right? You make a joke about it, then everybody can relax, they laugh about it, and then we can all move on from it, and it doesn't just linger. So I try to do that too. Sometimes I edit it out, or make a joke about it when I'm doing something with ingredients and I have ketchup flying through the kitchen. I'm like, oops, and, I mean, we're all imperfect. And I think on some level, people love seeing that we're not perfect either, that we don't have the perfectly meticulously cleaned up spick and span home either, that we're human beings and we all have shortcomings and we're real. And I think they do want to, we tend to think that we need to present something perfect, but I think the audience relates more to us if we're also human and real and authentic, and they can feel when we're not authentic. And that, I think, is huge. When they're not feeling we're authentic, I think it's a huge turnoff. So I try to be really authentic and just myself. And I know I have flaws, but I embrace that, and I don't try to change myself, because then I just wouldn't be authentic anymore.
If you're ready to get serious about starting and growing a successful YouTube channel, then you're going to love VRApodcast.com. For a limited time, we have a special sale happening on our YouTube course and coaching membership that includes the online course, the 80-page workbook, and access to the private community. Inside of this program, you have everything you need for starting a successful YouTube channel all in one place. You get access to checklists and resources that will save you time, reduce stress, and help you reach your YouTube goals faster. But also, the most powerful part is the community. It's not just other creators and entrepreneurs that are ambitious and reaching for their goals, but it's also the Think Media faculty that's in your corner, answering your questions and helping you stay motivated on your journey to YouTube success. And for a limited time, we are running a big sale at vrapodcast.com. So if you want to check it out, just click the link in the show notes or go to vrapodcast.com. All right, let's get back into the episode. And number 6, optimize your routine for focus and productivity. They're so deep we can go on each of these tips. And so let's just touch this one briefly and we'll go back to Shannon to start. And this was kind of inspired because one of the things you do is you listen to Mozart sometimes when you're working, and you found that that's helped you with focus. It's helped you with productivity. I'm curious if there's any other thoughts you have, and then Anya will go to you in terms of setting up your workspace, creating an environment for productivity, or thinking about some of the enemies of that, maybe interruptions or distraction or clutter, especially from the decluttering experts. So what are your thoughts on this tip, Shannon?
Well, I find that clutter can be in your environment as well as in your mind. And one of the best things that I was able to do to get focus on what I'm doing, because I struggle with feeling guilty. You know, I should be doing the laundry. I should be cooking dinner. I should be doing this, that, and the other. I really sat down and have a conversation with my husband. And I said, hey, I need to know, are we on the same team here? Because I'm going to have to neglect some things. Are you okay with that? And he was 100% behind me. So all of that was just built up in my own mind. And, you know, through this time of doing this, we have negotiated that a lot where, you know, we've divided and conquered things. But yeah, for me, one thing that really helps is to have a dedicated workspace. Like you saw in that video, it used to be a walk-in closet. So literally, I started with my workspace in a closet. Now I have a bedroom that I've converted, but you know, that didn't happen all of a sudden. So carve out a tiny spot. It might be a corner of your bedroom. That's okay. But that's where you work, and you don't have to reset it up every single time.
Man, such a great tip. And then Anya, for you, where you edit your videos or where you set your videos up, is there anything that you do in your routine to get focused, get in the zone, get maybe in the mood for content creation?
Yeah, I agree with Shannon. I need to sit at my desk, and I need to clean my desk, because then I can actually really focus and I don't have everything else sitting there and pulling at my attention. So that definitely helps. But I have also, and I know this might segue into another tip later, but I have also reluctantly hired a housekeeper, because part of what I do on my channel is, you know, teaching homemaking. And so I feel like I wanted to be I can do it all, but you can't. There's just no way. And I had to make a decision between being more productive in terms of content creation, or actually, you know, being I can do it all and clean my own home. But that's not really where my talent is or where the money is. So I hired a housekeeper, and she comes and helps me clean the home. And that's really great, because then I can stay focused on the content creation and don't get pulled away and do tasks that I don't have to do. I mean, it's sort of like, what can I do that I can only do? And what are some things that other people can do that I don't need to do? And that definitely helps me to focus and stay on the task and stay on what I'm trying to do and be productive.
Man, such great tips. Tip number 7 is rank videos to grow your channel on autopilot. One of the things we've been learning in this challenge is the power of ranked videos. You know, we use a tool called vidIQ, for example, and if you go to somebody's channel, you can see view trending videos. And at this moment, we could see a couple videos here that are getting VPH on our gabled home, Anya's channel. And she has a 4-year-old video that's getting 25.9 views per hour. It's going to hit 1 million views. A 4-year-old video is still getting 25 views per hour. And so I'm curious, Anya, you, of course, you're making new content. You love doing this, you're going to impact the world, but what have you experienced in terms of seeing the power of YouTube? Maybe also compared to your post and Instagram reels. I have a feeling you don't have a 4-year-old Instagram reel that's still getting views today. What have you learned about this power of ranking videos for really creating this creator business lifestyle?
So yeah, I want to inject here, because you show that video that's going to hit 1 million views. That was a talking head video that I recorded when I just couldn't figure out what to do next. So I sat down and I talked about something. And yeah, it's a little bit wordy. And some people have complained that, they could have compressed the 8-minute video into 4 minutes or something. I agree 100%. But there's got to be something about that video that it's going to hit 1 million. And I could have never, the moment I recorded it, I could have never known that that would be my most popular video. So that's why I would say to people, just record that video. You never know how it's going to hit, and you never know how popular it's going to be until you actually do it. And, and like Shannon said, sometimes you need to experiment. And sometimes, I've had videos that I've prepped really well, that executed really down, great production value, and they just basically crickets, and sometimes you just don't know. But I think at the end of the day, it kind of evens out. And when you stick with it and stay consistent, then, and then also, you also have to upload so many videos to figure out who you're talking to, but also what works for your channel, and to get some metrics back from the YouTube studio, for example. And they need so much data before you can actually evaluate it. And that's where you need to have at least like 10 or 20 videos before you can figure out, okay, this is really hitting home, or, this is going to be popular. And then, like you said, successfully, fluidly make number twos. I've made so many sourdough videos, and most of them do really well.
We talk about answer specific questions, and sometimes they seem basic, or they seem simple, or they seem like, just kind of, I don't know if this video is going to be good or not. But you shoot the video. Now Anya's got almost 1 million views on a video she didn't think would have done very well. And Shannon, when I look at your channel, it's just so inspiring, because we look at, a year ago, you posted a video, and with my vidIQ over here on the side, it just keeps going up and up and up. You posted this video a year ago, but it just keeps getting views. I don't know if you could see that challenge. It's kind of on the right side of the screen, this little graph right here, right? That's the dream. We call it that rocket R. That fifth R is like a rocket launch, just continuing to get views for weeks, months, and even years to come. What is your thoughts on YouTube compared to other platforms and this power of ranking videos?
Well, definitely. It's like investing. You have some investments that you just kind of put in the bank and watch them grow. And then you have others where it's a quick turnaround. And YouTube is bar none the best investment. So I can break up all those videos, and I have, and repurpose them on other platforms for quick hits. And honestly, a lot of that is to build up brand partnerships so that they can get a little kind of an hors d'oeuvre or a tasting of what I can offer them. And when they start seeing, hits on these other platforms, then they're interested in being incorporated into my long form videos. But I'll also add that closet video, I made that thing and it was crickets for about a month. I thought it was a great video. I was really proud of it. I loved it. And I thought, oh, gee, I'm way off. And then next time I turned around, it's taken off. So don't judge your videos too quickly. Let it percolate a little bit. Put it in the crock pot. Walk away. Keep doing your thing. And then you never know.
Number 8 is earn money in multiple different ways beyond ad revenue, beyond YouTube AdSense. I saw some people talking earlier in the chat about once you get 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch time, you can monetize with YouTube ads. But I'm curious, at our gabled home,
I started All Nation Restoration to help people. Chase for Business is literally what it says in the name. It is Chase for Business, where I can find everything I need in one place so we can help people get back to life.
Celebrate one-of-a-kind people with gifts that say I get you. Etsy.
Ok, ¿listo para evitar hablar del salario?
Excuse me.
opportunities? Are you only making money in one way, or do you have multiple streams of income that you've built when it comes to monetizing your channel?
Yeah, I have yet to count the various revenue streams that I have because I have too many that I can just tell you all of them. But the AdSense is a piece of it and not necessarily the biggest chunk. And I would have to break up a pie chart how much that is. But then, I have affiliate links, and Amazon is a really easy one because everybody is on Amazon. And so it's just really easy to just, have a product on your video, and then you just pop in your affiliate link in the description box. People love that because they often ask me, oh, where did you get this? Or where did that come from? Then, because so many people were asking me questions about my sourdough stuff, I thought, okay, so, I don't have time to answer all those questions. So let's make a dedicated course where I go into depth and teach people how to do it. So that's a course, and that's making money. I have an apron pattern that I sell. That's a digital product that I sell. I'm a reseller for the mock mill grain mills. That makes a lot of money. And I have another digital product that I sell. And then, I do some very selected partnerships and brand deals because I turn down maybe 90% of the offers because they just don't jive with my audience, or I'm not standing behind the product and I don't want to sell my soul. So I'll just pass on and say, nope, thank you. It doesn't work for me. I'm not going to pedal doormats when I'm doing sourdough. It's just not happening. And I'm trying to think what else.
Well, already people are probably like, whoa, because again, sometimes we could just think about, I hope I get monetized and then I can start making money.
Right.
But there's so many opportunities. I'm curious from you as well. You're doing many different things, but one of my specific questions is sometimes we think of Amazon as one of the only, right? Or maybe like, okay, Amazon, or I'm not approved for it yet. But I was snooping around in your description and I saw Shop LTK, I saw Our Style. What are how many different affiliate programs are you a part of? And what is this Our Style and some of these different things that we are looking at beyond Amazon in terms of how you're making money?
Well, about a year and a half ago, I was accepted into the LTK program, which is Like to Know It. And it is almost exclusively women. That probably will change in the future, but they make it extremely easy to attach affiliate links to any product from most major retailers. So they do collaborate with Amazon, but they don't show all your sales figures from Amazon. So I have really morphed into doing most of my work with LTK because they are so creator centric. They make it really easy for me, but I can list things from Walmart, Amazon, all different retail stores. And I use that to monetize any products that I use in my videos. Sometimes I'll do, I did a pantry exclusively with Walmart organization products. I linked all of those through my LTK store. So that's another platform that I can, grow this little audience. And I use it in my newsletter and refer my audience and say, hey, if you missed some of the things that I was using in my videos, you just have to go to one shop. And that's my LTK shop.
Number 9 is outsource strategically. I'll kind of just catch us up here to save a little bit of time. Outsource strategically, Anya was talking about how she has hired a housekeeper. And one of the biggest tips could be, you might say, can I hire a video editor? That's great, sometime on your journey. But the other thing is what if you just hired somebody else to do something that's a little more clear? If I could, house cleaner is a little bit more clear. I could get on TaskRabbit, or I could find somebody from care.com or something. And now I have a few hours back because maybe you're going to be the better person to edit your content. So sometimes it's could you delegate or outsource things that are maybe more simple and clear for you to handle the more complex YouTube stuff? You're the one who's mastering the VRA system. You're the one who's learning storytelling and marketing. Those are some hard skills to outsource. And also remember, there's steps to this. You might be like, outsource? How could I hire anybody else? I need to hire myself first. But over time too, this could be enlisting somebody that's maybe even in your family to help you. And I'm curious, Shannon, this is a recent change, but you just got your husband involved. What have you been thinking as far as kind of delegating and outsourcing things?
Well, let me just tell your viewers, first of all, I'm 58 years old. If I can do this, you can do this. I did not come from the tech generation, and I tell my kids all that all the time. They're 24 and 25. I'm like, if I can do it, You can do it. So that's number one. But yeah, we just brought him on part-time because he has a marketing background, and we're looking towards retirement, and we want to build this up as something that's going to take us into our sunset years. So he's got a genius brain for marketing, and we just recently put him to work part-time as my brand, marketing person. So I've been taking some inbound brand partnerships, but he is researching some outbound, some brands we're going to start pursuing a little bit more aggressively. And I will add to that, if you decide to hire a housekeeping person or anyone to help you or a meal service, see if you can get a brand partnership for that, and you can write it off on your taxes.
One of the leadership lessons I've learned is delegate or die. It sounds intense, but it's like at certain phases in your journey, if you don't start delegating, start at least thinking about systems, tools like AI, maybe a house cleaner, maybe getting your family involved, reworking the structure and systems of your life, then you really can break down. And we're so passionate, our mission is to help 1 million purpose-driven people create a full-time living doing what they love while making a difference in the world with YouTube, and to experience that success without losing their soul. And we can see, of course, the spiritual side of that, but there's a practical side of that. Like, I don't want to burn out on the journey. I don't want to break down physically on the journey. And so I need wisdom at every step. And so share some love, and I hope you've been getting value from the tips from our guests, because tip number 10 really kind of ties into that. Pace yourself. YouTube is a marathon and not a sprint. And so let's go to Anya. And Anya, what have you learned about prioritizing well-being, pacing yourself now over the years of building a YouTube channel, and the importance of maintaining maybe a healthy work-life balance?
Yeah, in the early days, I was watching other creators, and there was one who was pumping out 2 videos every week. And I thought, oh, she can do it, I can do it, right? But I couldn't. I had to be honest with myself. And I found that it was too overwhelming. I was constantly, between content creation and content editing and uploading, and, it just felt too much. And I thought I would burn out if I kept up that cadence. And I dialed it down to 1 video a week. And for me, that's been super sustainable. So first of all, I would say just be realistic, because nobody wins anything if you burn out and, you just, scrap the whole thing and don't create any more videos. So find a cadence that works for you, and make it super sustainable. And sometimes also stepping back when you feel like you're not really sure about your why. That's sometimes important. Why am I even doing this? To remember your why. And I had another whole talk with somebody else about how you can have even like a sticky note on your screen, or a screensaver that talks about your why, so that you keep that motivation to keep going. Because I will tell you, I have holes, I have dumps when I'm like, I really don't, now I need to record another bit, and that's real. We all have that. And if you can connect back to your why, and but sometimes you just need a little break. And I think it's also okay to tell your audience, I'm taking the summer off for my family. They understand, and I'm taking the summer off for my own mental health, and they understand that too. And yeah, so I also wanted to say, as Shannon was saying earlier, hey, if she can do it, anybody can do it. And I always tell people, if I can do it, anybody can do it, because otherwise I'm right behind Shannon. And my kids always joke, because they're like, Mom, you're just not the typical YouTuber. And I'm like, who is the typical YouTuber these days, right? And I'm super lucky because I have a son who works al gato, so he sometimes feeds me stuff, he feeds me products, and he helps me because he's much more plugged in. But it's an industry where things change all the time, and sometimes that is a bit of a curse, because I have to learn another thing and I have to learn something else. And but on the other hand, it just keeps us fresh. It keeps us learning new stuff, and it keeps our minds sharp. And so there's so much fun in it too. And at the end of the day, it is a bit of a job. And every job has aspects that you enjoy a lot about it, and then has aspects that you don't enjoy about it. So it's just like that. But if you can embrace it, it has so many upsides, and the flexibility, and, doing it for yourself. And it's super fun. And if you're passionate about it, find something that you're really passionate about, because if you're not passionate about your niche, then you will burn out. But if you can talk about sourdough all day long, like I can, then, you never run out of topics. Or if you, super passionate passionate about organizing like Shannon, I'm sure, and being in a closet and making that closet more functional, then, you never really run out of ideas. There's always something else you can do.
Give us a few final thoughts on this work-life balance, protecting your mental health and physical health, and kind of your wisdom.
Well, I would say that it's important to put up some barriers with your time. So I take Sundays off every week and try to have as little contact with my phone. I don't get on any socials. I try to put the phone in the other room at 6 p.m. every evening. Sometimes my husband has to take it out of my death grip. But I told him he has permission to do that. That's 6 p.m. After that is our family time. I will tell you, you will last a lot longer if you set up some of those parameters, and also reward those who love you and who are making the sacrifices for you to do this. Make sure that when you get a brand partnership, you share something good with them so that they don't just see the sacrifices, they also see the blessings that are coming from all of this.
So good. And shout out your channel. How can we connect with you, follow you, anything you want us to know about today?
My handle is at Shannon Skip to My Life on Instagram and Facebook. My channel is Shannon Skip to My Life. And if you are on LTK at Skip to My Life with _ between each word, I would love to have you check me out if you're looking for ways to help get your house organized, your life organized. If you're interested in a little bit more one-on-one help, you can join my membership. And if you want 14 pages of free household labels, you can click on that in my description box and you will automatically be signed up to my newsletter. And like Anya said, I love to interact with you. So please let me know how I can help you.
Awesome. Well, Shannon, I appreciate you so much, and thank you for sharing your wisdom today. If you enjoyed this podcast and are ready for some deep dive YouTube strategy, just go to thinkmasterclass.com to get access to my 1-hour on-demand YouTube strategy class. You'll be looking over my shoulder as I share my best tips, and you can watch it on demand right now at thinkmasterclass.com.
Unprofessional. Its grease-cutting suds last 2 times longer, so you can wash double the pots in just one sink. Dawn Professional Manual Pot and Pan. And try Dawn Professional Power Wash with a unique formula that cleans greasy surfaces and pots and pans fast.
Okay, go spill the tea. Pecan.
Confused? Maybe you just need a Snickers pecan.
Create more videos in less time, and we have 10 productivity tips. 2 special guests. I'm going to welcome our first guest, Jen from the Sewing Report. Jen, welcome to the challenge.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
So fired up to have you on. For those that are just meeting you, tell us about your journey on YouTube. I'll share the screen and show your channel here. And what is it you do, and when was it you started?
Hi, I'm an ex-news producer turned sewing enthusiast, and I started my channel in 2016. I believe I joined VRA in maybe 2017. I think I joined in 2017 or 2018, and I've been a full-time creator for about 6 years. I have a few different channels, but this is the main one, and I love doing it, and things are going well this year, so I'm excited to get going.
I love it. And what's like the value proposition of your channel? Making sewing fun and approachable? What's
I'm not a sewing expert or a sewing teacher. I really try to come at it from an everyday person. So I do reviews, I also do tutorials, but I really try to break down the information so it's not intimidating. I think that's a problem in the sewing community, and there's also a lot of gatekeeping or people being like, oh my gosh, you're doing this wrong. And I really try to be very, very approachable and I don't take myself too seriously. And there's a lot of different ways of doing different sewing techniques, and I really try to showcase it in a very realistic way. So I think that resonates.
I love that. All right. And then our second guest today is Rad from Unity Gym. Rad, what time is it right now where you're at? And then tell us when you started YouTube and what you're up to on YouTube.
Right now it's 5:22 a.m. I was up at 4:20 a.m. So you have to excuse me if I've got that sleep look in my face. So I have been running the Unity Gym channel now. I think we started back in 2014. Around that time, we joined VRA, and I say we because my brother was actually, who's my business partner, that's my brother on screen there with the red hat. He was the one that joined VRA, and he used to manage our channel back then. And so we joined in 2017. It just took off. I took over managing the channel when we sold our gym, in our physical location of our gym, in 2021, and now we're a full-time online business. So these are some of our older videos. So looking, that's reminds me of how far we've come. And now I manage the channel full-time, and that's my main role in our business, and I love it.
Man, so awesome. And thank you for jumping on the session today. We're going to kick it off with 10 tips and kind of talked off camera and before. Tip number 1 is start simple. And so we'll start with you, Jen. And we're talking about, how to actually get videos done. I think as both people look at your setups or we look at the videos today, it's like, oh man, it seems so effortless. You've got, Jen, right now you're coming from this cool studio and lighting all behind you, but, and you have a background in media. So talk maybe though about like day one creating videos and just the mindset you had to start before everything was perfect.
Yeah, sure. I do think when I talk to people about starting YouTube channels, they tend to really overthink things and think they need to have expensive gear, they need to have an elaborate setup, they need to have like videos like Mr. Beast, and I don't think that's true. I think you can start off with a phone, you can start off, this is not a fancy camera here, but I think that the key about starting YouTube is making it easy for you to shoot the videos, easy for you to edit the videos, and having a format that's simple enough where you can execute the videos. Not every video needs to be a movie. You could start off maybe with an unboxing video or just a talking head video. So something that doesn't require massive editing and something that's easy for you to do. So I think it depends on your experience level and your skills too. Like if you're a video editor already, you might be able to make a banger for your first upload. But if you're a beginner, shooting with your phone using iMovie is the way to go. So that's what I would recommend for someone starting off, is to make it easy for you, and I think people just get all up in their head and then they never end up making any videos.
Yeah, it's a brilliant tip, and I want to kick it to Rad. Talking about, you mentioned, I put one of your older videos on screen. Talk about starting simple and what it was like years ago to get started. And, these days you've leveled up and workflow and editors and team and all this different stuff. But take us back to when you just started.
Yeah, absolutely. The first couple of videos that we made, I was actually talking to my brother Yanni about it yesterday, and he reminded me that we had 2 videos that took us from maybe under 1,000 subscribers up to 17,000 subscribers, and they were both shot on an iPhone with no editing. It was shot in one take, and then it was just uploaded. And it was shot in a way where we were like, oh man, we've got to do some content on YouTube. Let's go and make a video. And Yanni said, yeah, let's do a video on this. And one of the videos was, back then, my girlfriend, my now wife, I filmed him coaching her through a deadlift. We're a gym business, so it's all fitness videos. And he was just coached. The idea was an absolute beginner being coached on how to do a deadlift. And then another one was, my brother at the time had an injury called golfer's elbow in here, and he just did a video on what he's been doing for his golfer's elbow video. And those videos together, they went viral for us, and they both got a couple of 100,000 views, I think, or maybe tens of thousands of views. And yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it. This is it, all one take. Look at that. We don't even have a tripod. You can see the iPod, the camera moving around like this. And that video, I can't even remember how many views it's got, Sean. Maybe you can tell me. But that video and this one other video, which we actually ended up taking down. And it's funny because I don't know if I would do that today, but Yanni made a mistake in the way that he was coaching the technique of the deadlift, and we had all these sticklers coming on going, oh, that's wrong, you shouldn't do it like that, and we were just constantly defending ourselves saying, yeah, you're right, it was this, and we just decided, look, we're going to take it down. But those 2 videos took us to 17,000 subscribers, and then from there we started to get a little bit more serious. We bought a tripod, we bought a camera. We were still doing like one take videos, but that's evolved to now, highly polished, highly edited stuff with a team of video editors.
Yeah, that's so inspiring. That video has 254,000 views. And what Rad is saying, everyone, is that it's one take, meaning it's like press record the entire 13-minute video, turn it off at the end, and upload it to YouTube from a smartphone. And so, of course, you might feel like I do want to level up someday, or I see the production value of my competitors. But you got to start with what you have. It's not about your resources. It's about your resourcefulness, which brings us to tip number 2, which is set up a place to film. Now, we could take this a couple different directions. You know, Rad's doing some new stuff with some kind of cool vlog style content. You see that Jennifer has a place to film. And so we'll start with Jennifer. And she started, she mentioned that she's got like a filming space, like a studio. And so what have you found the power maybe over the years of having a place that can be dedicated to creating content and that saving you time and being more productive?
Definitely. Having a dedicated space, very consistent lighting, that's really important, because something that will bog you down is, say you're shooting in different locations, you constantly have to change your camera settings, your lighting, your white balance, and everything. With this setup here, I've used the same light bulbs. They're all the same color temperature. I've actually been using the same main camera the entire time. I've never changed out. I've added additional cameras, but I still use the exact same camera. I have an overhead camera as well, so I do live streams too. So I have all of the equipment set up to kind of ease the friction and make it as smooth as possible to shoot videos quickly. So in fact, right after I get done with you guys, I'll probably shoot a video. Since I already have my hair done, I have makeup on, so kind of to be more efficient, I'll do that. But yeah, I've had the same camera forever, and I haven't upgraded it because that's the camera that works for me. That's the camera I'm most comfortable with, and I know I can get a result I'm happy with. So it helps if you have a dedicated area and you have everything set up, so you don't have to constantly break down the lights and everything. You just have it there. In fact, this is actually the living room in my house. We actually don't have a living room. We turned this room just into a filming space.
So inspiring. And I think about that too. You know, I want to encourage our community that, like, what's your dream? What's your vision for your channel? What would you love to have someday? And I'm sure all of us would say, like, oh, I'd love to have the great camera, maybe a whole separate room or a whole basement, or maybe someday we'll move into a bigger house or a bigger apartment. Great. Dream big, but be willing to start small and start with what you have. I think about when we started our Clear Vision media business, we started in the corner of our living room, and I just took a corner, and that's where we were then. Now I'm grateful that in this particular home office is where we film. In Vegas, we have a studio. We actually rent out. One of our team member, Kyle, has a pretty cool house, and part of it is rented to our company because like 1,000 square feet of it can be dedicated to what it is we're filming there. So it's just different seasons, but the dedicated space, what could you do? One of my favorite things are those wardrobe, the privacy shields. You know, how could you partition a particular room? Don't always think, oh, I can't do it because I don't have this. What do you have? You know, using what you have, thinking a little bit different about what you have. And I want to kick it to Rad, thinking about over the years, how have you found that having a dedicated space or studio or place where you create content has been helpful? And what really are you up to today in terms of how you're creating content?
It's a game changer if it's something that you can actually do. And I'm going to echo what you just said. Like, don't let it be the thing that stops you from getting started. But as soon as you can, having that dedicated space, it really just gets you in that head space. And when we were at the gym, we went far enough as to create a podcast studio, and we had like soundproofing and everything in it. And we used to do live streaming in there and film a lot of videos in there. And now that we've sold the gym and I've moved to an online business, we got a home where I now have a dedicated studio. And so this is the background that you're seeing. This is like a separate part of my home. That's my studio there in the background, and my house is up the top there. So I have like my own gym set up down under my house here, which is where I just train. And then what you're seeing, my background here was in that little office that was behind me where you were looking there. So yeah, that's my office there in the background. That's where I am right now. That's me. That's the background there. So I'm just sitting at the desk in front of that. So yeah, a dedicated space is huge. It just gets you in the headspace. It means that, you know, when I come down here, I know it's time to work. I got my workstation. I've got everything set up, and it's been a game changer for me. And it's a gradual process, you know. Like, you don't look at at a workspace like what I've got here and think, oh my God, like I've got to go from there to here in one step. It didn't happen like that for me. You know, the lighting came bit by bit, the posters came bit by bit, the shelves came, it's a gradual process, but it's really valuable.
I love that tip. Let's go to number 3, which is develop your video editing workflow. And so develop your video and editing workflow. So I've been a video for a long time. So workflow is a word that maybe you wouldn't normally hear, but like a workflow is, okay, plug the SD card in the camera, capture it to the SD card. Then the SD card comes out of the camera, is plugged into the computer, footage is captured. Then you actually put it into the timeline, video is edited, then the video is exported. I've heard it said there's 4 stages of production. There is pre-production, there's pre-production, production, post-production, and distribution. What am I doing before? What am I actually doing when I'm filming? What is post-production be editing, export, and then distribution would be like put it on YouTube, and then remember our Rocket R, share it everywhere. So there's a lot of different approaches to workflow. I want to kick it to Jennifer because she was talking about this. She talks about a workflow process. And so Jennifer, how has that helped you get more done in less time?
Well, admittedly, this is one of my goals for this year is getting better with a workflow. I think when you're a solo creator, it's really easy to sort of get lost in your mission and then with the content. So I think it's important to figure out like a system that works for you. So with the editing, with filming, what order should you shoot everything in? Should you shoot 8 videos at a time? I shoot a lot of different formats. So I'll do talking head videos. I will do tutorials. I also do live streams. And I do, a lot of different types of content. And I kind of have this down, but I do think that there's some things I could do to get better. One thing I've been looking at, I've been looking for like these digital planners, and I was on Etsy, and there are a lot of designers that sell specifically YouTube planners or like workflow sheets or even like content creation planners, and they're digital or you can print them out. And I was actually thinking about getting that because I think that would help me, especially with like certain videos, like tutorial videos for me can be kind of complicated because I have to shoot all different angles. There's like a gazillion different steps I have to shoot. I sometimes will script those out a little bit and, I'll have to record my voiceover. So I do think that every content creator can get better with the workflow. But I think if you can figure out a system that allows you to kind of get each video done or, be in the middle of multiple projects at once, I think you're going to be a step ahead.
I love that. And I'm getting pumped because yesterday we were talking about systems. The secret is the system, and systems for all of life. Like we've got a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old right now. We have like how do we get the kids to bed system, and really routines. And in Atomic Habits, that's what James Clear talks about. Goals, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We follow to the level of our systems. Systems are the habits. They're the routines. And that's a great recommendation to get a checklist. And just as a reminder, inside of our the workbook, we have like our Rocket and Rank checklist. It's all in there. And when you print this out and maybe put this on your desk inside of VRA, upload your video to YouTube, order captions from rev.com if you want to spend that money, include your reverse engineer title, upload your thumbnail, add your tags, add your description, test all the links in your description. Notice that tip. Don't just get your description optimized. Make sure the links work. It's so funny when I'll be doing channel reviews or coaching for people, and I'll be like, you wanted them to go to your website and like book a call with you? You wanted them to actually go check your website link doesn't even work. I actually just replied to somebody on Twitter, and I was like, your link doesn't even work. The one you sent me, nor the one in your bio. Test your links. Why is affiliate money not coming in? The link doesn't work. So better a short pencil than a long memory. Even if you're a pro, you forget things. And so we like to turn everything into checklists and have systems for all the different aspects of YouTube. And so, Rad, I'm curious, what is your workflow for the content that you're creating today, like the system to get the videos done that you're putting out there?
Good question. I've actually got 3 styles of videos that I'm working with now, and one style has many different, and that is the ranked search video. So of course, there's how-tos, there's 10 tips, there's all the different techniques that we use. These are some very old videos showing you. This is more of the one take wonder. So that's one style that I'm doing. Another style that I'm doing is the ones that you can see there, which is these are my daily vlog videos. So for that one, the only real sort of workflow that I have is that I try to get myself into a headspace that
Just for Men gives you your strongest, fullest, thickest looking beard yet. Mustache and beard, now with keratin. In just 5 minutes, score your best beard ever. Just for Men.
That's nothing. We've got new Bounty. It's 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less. And one sheet holds up better while ordinary brands fall apart.
It's good.
Get more done with one. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Day one, right down the street, to present day, all over America. Napa and our nationwide network of parts and exceptional service were built for one mission, to keep your business moving full speed ahead.
Not just filming things for the sake of it, that I'm really adding value to people, because the way that I work out is very different to the way most fitness influencers work out, because I combine strength and flexibility. So I'm always getting myself into a headspace before I start where I'm giving value and I'm not just kind of sitting there going through the motions, with my head down. That's one style of video that I do. That's one part of my workflow. Another part of my workflow, like if I'm doing a ranked video, I'll really follow the VRA framework. So I'm going to research first, and there's multiple ways to research. I'm either going to use vidIQ, and I'm going to do keyword research and things like that. So this is one of our more highly edited videos. And another way that I'll research is, because we've been going for a while now and we get a lot of comments on my channel, I'll look at what people are asking and I'll answer specific questions. And then another way that I will research is that I will look at what other YouTubers are doing and I will be inspired by them. I don't often copy what other people are doing. I've done that once or twice, and I know that's a good technique for people. It's just not something that felt right for me. I more like to get inspired by a video editing style that somebody else is doing. And so I'm doing this new video editing style now where it's like I'm doing these transitions that I've only done 2 videos and using this new style. Check this out. The second video that I made, I posted the same, it's a reel, I posted the same reel to Instagram. It got 680,000 views in less than a month, and it doubled my following on Instagram in less than a month. The second video trying this new style. It's crazy. And then I have, and you can, the video, it's a short on my channel. If you scroll down a little bit, I can't remember, it's 3 reasons to practice the horse stance. You'll see it coming up. And even without the sound, if you watch it, you'll be able to see the editing style. Or three.
I'm searching horse, so I'm going to search horse using there it is, the right technique. The right technique.
No, that's not it. No, it's not it. It's a 3 reasons to practice the horse stance. It's literally doubled.
Yeah.
It's literally doubled my subscribers, my followers on Instagram. It took us from 22,000 to 46,000 in less than a month. It's insane. Nothing's ever gone that well. Anyway,
are you posting so you'll sometimes create reels on Instagram and also post them as YouTube Shorts?
No, everything I create for YouTube, and then I distribute it to other channels. And I do that because YouTube, like I have an online business and we have a questionnaire for all our new members to fill out. And if you just keep scrolling while I'm looking, I'll be able to point it to you, because it's only within, just if you go slow, it's only within the last 20 videos or so. Just keep going slowly. And it 70% of our new members come from YouTube. 70% of my business comes from my YouTube videos, and that's where we make our money. And so I focus all my effort on creating content for YouTube. That's it. This is it. So if you watch the editing style here, you'll see it in the first couple of takes. You see how I'm like cutting and doing these transitions that make it look like it's.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I got inspired to do that by this YouTuber that I saw, and he's got like 3 million subscribers, and I'm looking at his content, trying to figure out what's going so well for him. And in all honesty, like I don't mean to sound arrogant, but I don't think the context of what he's doing is really, really good. I don't think he's got great information, but his editing style, he does these edits. And if you watch this, watch how the video loops, Sean. You watch this. So watch this last little bit here.
Oh, wow. It goes right. Your arms go right up.
Right back. And then it loops back into the video. And I studied his videos, and I was like, this is what it is. It's this style. And I made 2 of these videos, and the second one. So it's done 5,000 views on YouTube. But every one of my viral videos on YouTube, it didn't go viral until a year or 2 later. So let's see what happens in the year. But that same video, anyway. So that's my process for getting ready to film. And for editing, my vlog videos, I'm literally just trimming. I'm just doing chronological editing. I don't do any editing to it. Like it's like the Sam Sulek style. I just chronologically edit and trim the clips. But for everything else, I've got a video editor over that works for me full time.
Wow, that's super inspiring. And I took out some major nuggets. One of the things I've learned about YouTube Shorts as well is that we have posted some, and 180 days later, 222 days later, they'll start picking up. But yeah, if you have a vertical video, you have an asset that you can post on multiple platforms. Now, we encourage people to be cautious, because even as Rad's talking, like he's got a business, he's got money coming in, he's got people helping him. And so being on every single social media platform can be a little bit of a distraction and even a hindrance when you're just starting out. But also 70% of his business is coming from YouTube. YouTube really is, the CMO of HubSpot said it this way. They said that YouTube subscribers are the most valuable subscribers on the internet. And another big takeaway, Rad, was that you should start with YouTube first, because that's a good point. Like if your YouTube short only gets 5,000 views, but you upload it as an Instagram reel and it gets 600,000 or goes viral, like you still, same difference ultimately, but then YouTube might pop off 3 months later. Instagram might get the views this week, but they stop. And so as you have a system, the secret is the systems, thinking about your workflow. As you've got systems supporting you, then you can start really getting better results, which brings us to number 4, and we'll kick it back to Jen. And she was talking about utilizing both really high production content and low production content. Not every video has to be the highest level of quality, and you can rotate between these formats. Jen, break this down of like how you would define these terms and what this would mean for you.
Yeah, well, for me, like say low production, that would be something like a talking head video where you're just maybe talking about a community topic, something like that. High production would be like an in-depth sewing tutorial, something with tons of different B-roll, lots of different shots. So that would be a higher production video, or again, Mr. Beast videos would be high production, super high production. But the average person can't make a Mr. Beast video every week or even every month. So I would definitely recommend, if you want to try to upload consistently, try to maybe rotate between, maybe shoot a few low production videos. You could batch shoot those, but then also shoot for something a little more impressive. Again, I think that will help, but also if you kind of mix it up, people will get like a sense of a variety for the video style, and it'll make it easier for you, but also you won't just be a channel that's doing, say, talking head videos. Another one you can do that's fairly easy, I have an overhead rig, and sometimes I'll shoot like little unboxing videos or something where I'm featuring something, but it's a faceless video. So I don't have to be on camera. It's something I can shoot anytime, and that I'll do super minimal editing. So like I have another channel where I've been doing like handbag stuff. So I will maybe show what fits inside this particular handbag or something like that. That's something I can shoot. It takes me maybe less than 15 minutes to shoot. It takes maybe, an hour or 2 to edit and do everything, but it's something that's very simple, and you can kind of mix in those formats just to give a little more variety to the content, but also make it feasible for you, because again, you can't be doing a Mr. Beast level video every week. It's just not, even for me. Again, I don't even have an editor, so I do all the editing myself, and sometimes you can get bogged down in the editing. The other thing I would say is do a format that's easy for you to edit. So there are certain video styles, like I find editing vlogs is actually fairly easy for me. So that would be one where if I want, and I probably should do more of that type of content. For some reason, that's almost easier for me than editing a talking head video with a lot of background B-roll and graphics and stuff. But the vlog would actually look cooler. So as you're experimenting with the editing, figure out which style is the most fun, maybe like the one you enjoy the most and the one that's kind of easy for you, and you can gravitate towards that style.
Such a great tip there. And I'm going to move us to tip number 5, and then we'll roll right into 6. And because this kind of is an extension, take advantage of scripted versus unscripted content. And so what do I mean? In some cases, you may write out your entire script or really outline the video. And in other cases, you might go a little bit more off the cuff. It's the same kind of idea is low production versus high production. Sometimes you get a video out and you're like, I like to use this is a tip, you can write it down, a scoring system. Now, you just kind of are self-aware. Like a 10 out of 10 effort video for you might be like, I traveled, I filmed, there's B-roll, there's editing, I really structured all the content. That's like a 10 level of effort. And then there's a 1 level of effort. My first video that I posted, they could not have been a lower, worse level of effort. All right, so this is, I guess, the first Sean Thinks vlog, and literally a 1. Like even then, like for me, I was already doing video prep. That was a 1 level of effort. So probably I would avoid that, but unscripted. And so I like to think of a scoring system and think about, okay, I want to upload at least a 7 or maybe a 6. And sometimes we are so overly critical of our content. What's funny is the low production or the unscripted video might get tons of views and the high production video might get less. Remember, it's way more about the value to the viewer than it actually is about the production quality. So just a couple tips is that you can jump between these. You could have lower production quality, but it doesn't mean there's lower value. People can still get the values in the viewer's mind, like, oh, wow, I learned something. I got to connect with you. And then maybe sometimes script or maybe and I remember, Jennifer, I'll bring her back. You're talking about how you don't love using a teleprompter. You don't really use a teleprompter, neither do I. But I also know there's been times when I've outlined a video meticulously, especially when working with the brand for like 6 hours. I've worked on like outlining and structuring what am I going to say. And then there's been times where I have like 3 bullets and I'll just share those as well. And so you mentioned that in your notes about kind of like, what does it mean to script content? It doesn't necessarily mean reading it word for word. What does that look like for you?
I normally don't script out a lot of videos. Sometimes I will do script if I'm doing a tutorial, but I'll shoot the on-camera parts and I don't script those. But then I will script out like the actual tutorial part, but I'm not on camera. And this is sort of the more heavily edited part. So that's really the only time I do scripting. I'm not great at it. I'm better at just maybe coming up with some bullet points, having a few notes, but I like talking off the cuff. I will also say this as a former television producer, I think the skill of being able to speak extemporaneously is very important. I think it's a huge advantage to you as an on-camera personality. And yeah, I'm not a huge fan of teleprompters, and I will tell you why, Sean. It's because, one, I think for me, if I had to use a teleprompter, me having to script everything out and then set up the teleprompter, use the teleprompter, it wouldn't save me any time because, I'd have to do all of that stuff. I did work with a client and she was like obsessed with scripting things out. And I almost felt like that hindered her as an on-camera personality because she started using like the scripts as like a crutch, and she couldn't speak if she, she couldn't do, she had trouble doing like live streams. She had trouble doing guest appearances on other shows because she relied on the script so much. And I see that a lot with people who use teleprompters as well. I worked in news for a long time and there were anchors that literally couldn't do their job if they didn't have a teleprompter. And there are a lot of situations where they didn't have scripts and they didn't have a teleprompter and they choked. So I've seen that happen in real time, and it's kind of comical, but it's also kind of a tragedy as well. And the thing with the teleprompter, I'll also say, is that unfortunately most people think they're great at reading the prompter, but it looks like they're reading a prompter. So I don't think most people are skilled enough at using the teleprompter and making it look natural. So I know a lot of people, especially business professionals who do a YouTube channel, they'll be like, oh, we need a teleprompter. I need to have everything scripted out. That might not be the best approach. I think there are very few people that are their best with scripts and with a teleprompter. And I can see where that can almost be a handicap instead of a help.
Such great tip.
So don't come for me, teleprompter people.
and you know, at the end of the day, and I see there's a lot of good conversation happening in the chat, is you know, you got to find what works for you, and take the tips and the nuggets of wisdom that are being shared here. Like, sure, use a teleprompter, but like work on the skill of making it natural. Over time, learn how to speak extemporaneously, and so you can kind of flow. That takes time to build the skill, but build that skill up. There's so many nuggets that we can all apply, but you got to then find out your personalized workflow and your personalized system. So I want to kick it to Rad, and Jennifer hit this a little bit earlier. Tip number 6 is batch produce content when possible. And batch production is where you would shoot more than one video at one time. Jennifer wisely said too, she's like, I got ready for today's stream. And so as soon as she's off of this, then she can make some more videos. She was able to connect with like the 934 people here live, and if you're watching on the replay, thanks for being here, you know, and then also make more content because you're already set up, you're already in the flow. So I'm curious, Rad, like I know today, like right now you're doing these, are they daily? Are you kind of doing daily videos or a couple a week?
I'm doing 2 a day.
Okay, so now you're
2 long form videos every day. But batch producing like pre-produced videos, absolutely, 100%. So
yeah,
the reason I do,
let's go back in history. Tell us about a time when maybe like to walk us through one of your shoot days that you had a couple of videos planned out, and then how you got them all done in one day.
Yeah, so when we were back in the gym, and we would have to set everything up, you know, because obviously as a gym, I didn't have lights and everything just set up there. We were a functioning gym, so we'd have to come out and set everything up. So we'd do our research. We'd research the video that we were going to create. We'd come up with a concept, the big idea first, and then once you've got that big idea, you start looking into your titles and your thumbnails, and you get the feel for what you're going to do for the video. And then some videos, I'm just trying to think back in the day, I don't think we scripted much at all back then. The only thing that we used to really script was the intro that we did, and it wasn't scripted as though it was written down. That was back in the day where it was like, hi everybody, my name's Rad from Unity Gym, and if you want to learn the best tips for this, like it was just this generic intro, which I don't do now, and I've learned is not best practice. But so what we would do is we'd have our concept and we'd have our 2 or 3 videos that we were going to do. And then when you go out and you set up, you know, you've got this one video that you're going to do, you get it all done, you do all your different shots, and then you say, yep, that video's done. Okay, what's our next video? And it just makes that, like within 1 to 2 hours of filming, you can actually produce several assets. And it actually reduces a lot of the amount of stress, because if you have a goal to do 1 video a week, you know, you could, I think a really smart way to do it would be to try and film 4 videos at once. And that might take you a couple of hours to do, but then you've got this content that you can just edit, and you've got a whole month's worth of content to do. And then you can do like an editing day or an editing couple of days, whatever your process is, and then schedule those videos 1 a week for 4 weeks. And then you get that freedom to move on to, okay, what are my next couple of videos that I'm going to do, which is very different cadence to every week kind of feeling that pressure of, oh, I need to do a new video now. Oh, it's Friday and I'm meant to post on Sunday. So I think that's a really smart way to do it.
Such powerful tips. What has been your favorite tip so far? Challenge. We'll recap them, and we've got start simple, number 1. Number 2, set up a place to film. Number 3, develop your video and editing workflow. Number 4, utilize low production and high production content. Number 5, take advantage of scripted versus unscripted content. And then number 6, batch produce content when possible. What have been some of your aha moments so far? Number 7 is tap into the power of live streaming. We'll start with Jen. And she's made an interesting pivot lately, which is kind of an insight in terms of how live streaming affected her channel, but she still loves doing it. You built a studio. How have you found when it comes to getting the video out there, the power of live streaming to help?
Yeah, so I had done a consultation with a former YouTube employee last year, and I noticed that my channel had been kind of taking a hit. And the advice I got from this guy was awesome. He said, I was doing kind of too many different formats on the channel, and it wasn't connecting with they were 2 different audiences. So I was doing things like sewing tutorials or overviews on sewing machines, but then I was also doing live streams on community topics. Like the sewing and quilting community is big on things that are going on, different there are controversies in sewing, believe it or not. Right now, everyone's talking about what's going on with Jo-Ann Fabrics. So he said, you either need to do no live streaming or just do all live streaming. Because my other thought, I was like, well, maybe I can do a live streams where it's it's like a sew and chill. I have different camera setups, and maybe I could do sort of sew with me, kind of like a voyeuristic kind of thing. So I had that thought. So he said and I know I don't really recommend doing 2 different channels, but I decided to start a channel just for live streaming. So I started Sewing Report Live probably about 1 year ago. And at first I was having trouble figuring out what kind of content was going to hit. So at first I was doing these sew with me type things. So I would make an entire project and have different camera angles, and it looked very cool, but they were very hard to do. These were very long live streams, they were 8 hours long, and they weren't really performing that well. So I started trying to do different live streams, and what I found is working the best right now is covering kind of sewing news. So again, it's called the Sewing Report. So I guess I probably should have done this a long time ago, but I'll find out what's going on in the sewing community. Again, the financial picture of Jo-Ann Fabrics right now is kind of the thing to talk about. Yeah. So I did a whole
52,000 views.
I know. I was like, holy crap, So I ended up looking into the background of Jo-Ann Fabrics CEO, and it's very, very sketchy. So I found all of these and again, I think this also kind of lends itself to my background as a news producer. So it was something I could do. It was very easy for me to do all the research. So what I've been doing is doing live streams. And again, these are not using StreamYard software. There's really not a lot of editing. I do some prep work, but it's easier than me spending 3 days editing a tutorial video. So these for me were kind of easy to do. I've been doing them about once a week. And if I do different topics, what I've been doing is I do the live stream, and it's been sort of catching on. It takes a while for people to realize you do regular shows. Then after the show is over, I'll cut up clips from the live stream, and those have actually been performing better than the lives themselves. And it's super easy to do. And you're giving people more of a viewing option. This is a very popular format for podcasts. They do the podcast, then they cut the clips, or they might have a clips channel. And then they'll also cut short verticals for YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok. And this is a good way for you to get a lot of content out of one raw piece of video. So I start off with a live stream, then I cut the clips. Really, the only work for the clips is doing the thumbnails is the longest part. So that's really the thing that takes the most time. And then anything with Jo-Ann Fabrics for the most part, I don't know why, but that's the thing. So this is this live channel is more for what's happening in the sewing community. And then the main channel, I've been just sticking to strictly sewing and quilting related content, and it's kind of I like the separation, but it's crazy because right now, literally right now, the live channel with 4,000 subscribers is getting more views in real time than the main channel. So for all you out there thinking you have to have a lot of subscribers or a big audience already, I'm actually getting better performance on that newer channel with 4,000 subs than the one with 113. So, and I also think this is helping, I don't know, I've seen some info from that YouTube liaison guy, Renee, on Twitter, that sometimes you can kind of cannibalize your own videos. So I almost feel like by having two different channels but in the same niche, that's maybe helping my stuff get out there more. I don't know, just a theory, but I've just noticed a lot more traction with the live channel recently than the main channel. So I don't know.
That's a good, I mean, there's so many nuggets there and super powerful. You know, one of the things, I'm sure a question's coming up is like, wait a minute, will live streaming hurt my channel? What Jennifer discovered is that it could. And also that she had an older channel, over 100,000 subscribers, and that particular format like wasn't ultimately helping that. Launched this new channel, which is crushing. So, but like I can report that live streams can do really great for us. Our Coffee with Cannell show on the podcast channel, live streams on I think media as well. And so this is why the 6th R in our system is review. What gets measured gets improved. You got to be studying analytics, looking at the results, looking at how things are performing on your channel, and then being willing to pivot. And it's so inspiring to hear that not only can Jennifer have her original channel, but also launch something new with all the wisdom she has and like have two things working. And so you definitely want to have that personalization for figuring out what's working for you. But what great news, and we reported this yesterday, that we're seeing a lot of small and new channels also being recommended on all kinds of people's homepages. Not just my opinion. Across the board, this is happening. Like YouTube is giving impressions, which means YouTube is giving opportunity to brand new creators in 2024. It was Mr. Beast that said, YouTube is the most generous platform and it's the best algorithm. And as soon as you figure out how to make content and figure out what content format works best for you, this is a really good time to get started and a really good time to get discovered. And a new channel can give you an advantage because sometimes having subscribers over years, maybe they're not paying as much attention. Maybe you've mixed your audience a little bit. You've done different content formats that have just created a lot of different people, and that could sometimes create some algorithmic confusion. So having fresh vision, a clear strategy, knowing your niche, knowing your strategy and dialing that in on a new channel might just be an advantage. Rad, I want to ask you about the power of live streaming. It seems like it's not maybe one of your main things, but you do this as well. So what have you learned when it comes to this?
Interesting that you say that. So I don't do live streaming right now, but when we went through one of our biggest growth spurts was during COVID in 2020. And God, it seems like such a weird thing to talk about now, doesn't it? It's like that weird time back in the past. But 2020, March, went into lockdown. We were forced to close our gym. Yeah, here you go. And we just immediately pivoted to doing live streaming. Wow. Fortunately for us, when this happened, we were positioned really well because we had our SLR camera. So we had our DSLR. We had a Sony 6100. We had a setup, we had decent internet and everything. And so we closed the gym and we said, all right, tomorrow we're doing live streaming workouts. And I was the model. My brother, we set up these microphones so that my brother was sitting behind the camera with one of our trainers and they had microphones. And so they were talking and we bought, you can see I'm wearing like one of those aerobics microphones where, the aerobics instructors wear. And we started doing these daily live streaming workouts and we were getting, on the live stream, we were getting maybe between 50 and 80 concurrent viewers. And that was back when our channel had probably I think we had 17,000 or 20,000 viewers back then, subscribers back then and we went from that to 40,000 within those 12 weeks that Australia was in lockdown in 2020. So that was a huge thing for us. And then what we also did for a period of time there, we used to do live streaming daily within our podcast studio, and you'd be able to see those if you look on our old live streams as well, where we built we were inspired by Joe Rogan and we built a podcast studio. And we used to go on live daily. We had a friend of ours who's a sports physiotherapist and my brother and I, and we used to basically just answer people's questions about what they wanted to know. And that built a really, really strong community. So this is actually a little bit later, Sean, if you go back to maybe a year before that, because this is when we just sold the gym and we were now doing our daily live streaming from our homes and we were using, I can't remember what that, vMix. So those are the early days of the studio. Anyway, and we did Yeah, we were doing these daily live streamings, and we built a really solid community from that. People really enjoyed it. We got a lot of business from that. People would like tune in for a while, and then they'd be like, I'm all in on this. I want to join your subscription. So yeah, it's very powerful.
Man, I love that. And I do want to encourage our community right now. Take notes. I know you're taking notes, but like capture the ideas, dream big, make your plan. But here's what we're not saying. We are not saying you have to do every single tip in this video all at once. In fact, that would be absolutely a recipe for overwhelm. But YouTube is a journey. And again, we sometimes overestimate how much we can accomplish in the next 1 year, but we underestimate how much we can accomplish in the next 5 years. And so you don't have to start live streaming right now. I know a lot of us, that would be terrifying. I'm not ready yet. Yeah, get ready, meaning do other kinds of content. But set a vision as your skills grow, as you experiment in the future. But man, what Rad said right there that I think we all really need to be prepared for is Samantha said in the chat, Rad was prepared back when those lockdowns happened. I think that we all can remember the pandemic, and we saw what happened to restaurants and gyms and different things and businesses, and it was so disruptive. But who grew the most during that time was people who were online, was people in the creator economy, because all of a sudden now all this attention shifted. And so there's something about getting ready right now. What's going to happen in 2024? We don't know. What's going to happen over the future? We're not sure. But why not get yourself positioned, start building your personal brand, start learning these skill sets, and having an agility mindset that you're ready to pivot, that you're ready to do things, and having an open mindset that also that was a season, and now there's a different season now, but if need be, Brad could always go back to that. Jennifer's ready. Notice how these two creators, I'm so inspired, are innovating. They're agile. They're continuing to learn. They're paying attention to what's happening. They're continuing to have different seasons of content creation. Unfortunate thing about YouTube is we cannot give you, this is the one way it's going to work, and you can bank on that. Master this, and it's going to work forever. That's also why our community is a living, breathing community. That's why we re-record and update Video Ranking Academy, because it's there's always going to be changes, but if you have the right mindset and you stay agile and adapt and pivot, stay connected to a powerful community and commit to learning and leveling up your skills, then ultimately number 8 is our tip here: to get smarter, to use systems, and to speed up over time, to continue to add to your tool set of skills. I want to pass it to Jen here on this idea of, again, over the years, you started one way, but now you've got all this wisdom, and people are like, drop wow, this is a good session. You can't take notes fast enough. And so thank you both for adding so much value. What's kind of your mindset, Jen, when it comes to being a YouTube OG right now? 2016, 17, 8 years on the platform. What is kind of the mindset do you think is necessary to have success related to tip number 8 here?
That's a really good question. I think trying to get better at what you do, and find ways to improve the videos and to improve the consistency and keep evolving. Like you were saying, find systems. I try to find as many tools to make this content creation easier. So for instance, a couple of things, I found, I use Adobe Premiere, and I found a plugin for Premiere that it's like an AI tool. There are a few of these, and I'm not going to say the one I use because I don't really recommend it. It's okay, but I wouldn't say I'm I'm super thrilled because they keep updating the tool and it keeps getting worse. But I found this tool that will take your clips and it will cut out all of the dead space and silence. So for me, that was huge. And I do all of my own editing. I personally have not. I think a lot of my videos would be very difficult to hand off to an editor that didn't know anything about sewing. I've tried some Fiverr editors for my other channel for very low stakes videos only, and it was okay, but honestly, I could have done it faster. By the time you type out the instructions to the editor, look it over, I didn't feel like it was worthwhile. Plus, I used to work with a video client. I no longer do, so I had more time. to edit myself. So I kind of stopped doing that. So that's why I don't use an editor. But since I found like the AI tool, like there are a few, that saves me probably a good hour or 2 hours because I'm not really having to do the rough cut. The tool is not perfect and you do have to, you know, make some tweaks, but it can at least get you like 80% of the way there so that you're not having to sit through. And I do edit I'm pretty vicious with the editing, with cutting out the dead space, cutting out all my ums. And another good thing, because I'm unscripted, that's the thing, you can cut anything out. So like if you feel like you're too rambly, or I'm like, wow, I said yeah, you know, too many times, or you can just cut it. So with the AI tool like that, it makes it really easy for you to be very cutthroat with the editing. And then I've also found some other tools like I have a Logitech MX Master 3 mouse. I think there's a newer generation. And then I have this Logitech keyboard, but they were both programmable. So they integrate with Premiere and you can actually create custom editing macros. So I figured out like which buttons and which functions I wanted set to different keys. And that also makes editing a lot quicker for me because I don't have to do that. When I'm setting up my editing timeline, I have kind of a basic template and I keep all of my elements, like my graphics frequently used, my sound effects that I use the most. I kind of keep that all together and then I just copy and paste that from one timeline to another. So you can do that. Again, when I'm doing the thumbnails, I also use Canva Pro. I used to use Photoshop, but Canva Pro came out with some tools that are better. So I found, like, especially with the background removal in Canva Pro, it's way faster than I was doing in Photoshop. I was like, screw this. So Canva Pro finally came out with enough tools where I felt it was worth paying for. I use the same font in most of my thumbnails, so I don't have to think about it. Use a lot of the same styles. So kind of simplifying that process helped me to be able to do things faster. Obviously, I use all of the default upload settings on YouTube's, so I don't have to do that all over again. So I've just figured out over the years things that make things easier for me. Again, I have all my cameras set up to be matched to the light color, temperature, or whatever. I'm not even super tech savvy. So like this is something anybody can figure out. But just little things that kind of eliminated frustrations and eliminated tasks. I'll try to do that.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And you got really tactical there, which
I know, I'm a nerd. I'm a total nerd.
Half of us are loving, and then some are like, oh my gosh, it's so much. And I want to encourage, again, remember, start simple and then level up as you go. Now, I will, let me see if I'll throw out a couple there because people are like, what's the tool? Yeah. You know, one of the tools for Premiere is we've used Autopod. Okay, I've used that too. I didn't like it. So I was like, okay. And so what's the tool? It's AutoCut. But here's what I don't like. I had some issues. So it was getting really funky. So like when it first came out, I was using it and I was like, this is great. But every time they did an update, things like they would mess it up. So what I do like about it though is I don't really do podcasting with guests, so I didn't need Autopod. But with AutoCut, you can so I shoot a lot of 2-camera videos and it works with 2 cameras. So that's what I liked about it. But I feel like the tool has gotten worse over time. And they've also like really changed, like at first they keep coming out with different tiers of the paywall. I'm very confused. I don't know if I would renew it. Sure. I'm not. And when I tried to contact the company, they're on Twitter, so you can reach out to them. And I'm like, hey, this is really messed up. Because one time I used it and it was like not even remote. Like it was really weird. So I contacted the company and I was like, hey, I'm experiencing this. And they wanted me to do they're like, hey, can you send us all of your files? I'm like, no, I'm not sending you all of my files. I was like, so they were kind of asking me to do all their troubleshooting. I felt like that was weird to ask the customer. In their credit, they did refund all of my money. So they're like, yeah, we'll just give you a refund. So I have it for a year, I guess, for free. But I swear, every time they keep making these changes that make the tool worse, and then adding on all of these other features that are like, so a lot of the features that were with the original version are now with like the premium version. It's just really confusing, and I don't like it as a customer. So that's why I'm not thrilled with recommending this company, but I do use it.
I'm hoping to find something better.
I had to put it out there because I know people are curious, and I was curious as well. But a couple things for our community. One, we'll be putting in the Circle group a summary of some of the resources mentioned here. Number two, one of the tools that you just hear so many people, and I see people in the chat recommending, is Canva. And I think it's for most of us. Some of these people said Canva killed Photoshop just because it keeps getting better. And so if you want to check that out, you can use our affiliate link at Design with Think to get a free pro trial. We love Canva. And then this is, by the way, friends, why we have our AI for YouTube guide is one of the bonuses. You can see that on the right side. Is this, I think, two big things. One, that's a living document, because exactly what Jen said is what we're experiencing. There's some good tools. We plug them in, they help us a little bit, but the roadmap of these software companies sometimes has them get a little bit weaker, and there's a better option. I know that can sound frustrating, but it's just the nature of the evolution of Premiere's evolving, these softwares are evolving. So just that document alone is why it's a living document that we're giving to everybody, because we are constantly testing and doing a lot of the painstaking research to save you time, and time is money. So that's so valuable to have that. And the other thing is, in our group and with just our faculty in general at Think Media, what we're most passionate about is helping you find the best tools for you. Because as you see how deep the rabbit hole can go, getting into all of these layers of complexity can slow you down. So sometimes it's, what is the simplest way to get started? And so there's like layers to what tools to use. That's why, for example, Canva, you saw me make a thumbnail in 2 minutes, kind of a no-brainer. As you get into editing, you probably have a million questions about editing. We're here to help. And so that's a lot of what happened. Like, we have access, we answer your questions in our community, we debate the different tools. It's kind of just an aspect of the creator business, of the YouTube business, is just kind of being willing to pace yourself, but continue to learn, and being willing to be open-minded to sometimes pivot, because you could be one tool away from saving 1, 3, 5 hours a week for the different steps that happen within kind of our content creation workflow. So, okay, we got to go to Rad. So grateful. I want to let you guys go soon. We're landing the plane, but this is a really cool conversation that we had off camera. He already touched on this, but number 9 is rank search-based videos, but also create the videos you want to make. I want to encourage you, sometimes people are saying like, well, the way that you're talking about answer specific questions and search-based content and learning how to rank videos makes me feel like you're kind of putting us in a box. Like, there's other things I want to create as well. And this is our entire message, and you'll learn that inside of Video Ranking Academy. We're not saying do just one or the other. We are saying do both. Especially when you're starting, learning how to rank search-based content and having videos that are 2 years old still getting you views is invaluable. In fact, after Rad, we could talk about Jennifer, about some of her videos that have earned like thousands of dollars in affiliate marketing from specific products that she's ranked doing reviews. So those become a very valuable tool. But also, when you fast forward to today, there's some new things that are happening. And Rad, even, he's doing both, and he's got kind of a new approach. So Rad, really break this down, because this is a 2024 conversation that's really happening right now. What is kind of your approach on number 9?
Yeah, look, I think I've seen a lot of videos lately where people are talking about how YouTube is changing, and the ranked videos are like, YouTube's just such an incredible platform where you make this video and you forget about it from 2 years ago. And then all of a sudden it's just getting these views. Like, I'm responding to all these comments and I'm like, what video is that from? And I have to go back and watch the video. And oh yeah, that's right, I made that video. And these videos just start getting tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views, which is incredible. But I held myself back for many, many years of making the videos that I wanted to make, because they really had nothing to do with ranking or searching or using the tips and tools that I followed to get the incredible growth that we had on YouTube with VRA. And so I'm taking a different approach this year. And I'm not forgetting about those styles of videos at all. But last year, my whole goal was to make one video a day, not long form, but it was a shorts video a day and one long form a week. And I achieved that goal. And all of those videos are videos that have the potential to rank high in search, and they're an evergreen video. But now this year, what I'm doing is, because I've seen this as a trend, especially with this guy, Sam Sulek, who funnily enough is in my niche. He's a fitness influencer. And he's just exploded. Like, I think he got 1 million subscribers in 6 months. He's up to like almost 3 million now in less than a year and a half. And I've watched enough videos where people are analyzing what it is about what he does. And there are several things to it, but one of the key things which really stood out to me is he's just doing what he loves. And you can see, like, look at this. His videos start like this all the time. It's just him in the car talking. Like, in all honesty, they couldn't be more boring videos. They couldn't be more videos that break the mold more. But my analysis of this, Sean, is that I think there's a real trend moving towards people watching YouTube on smart TVs. And I've heard you talk about that before as well. And on smart TV, it's a really different viewing habit because you have to type in with your remote and it's really awkward. And you don't want to type in, search for something, find it, and then put your remote down and you watch a 5-minute video while you're eating dinner and then you got to pick it up and search for something else again. So there's this new opportunity. Well, this is my interpretation of it. I think there's this new opportunity for content that is not so, following the, here's the hook and here's the promise and there's fast editing and it's every 2 seconds. It's more something where you can just sit back on your TV couch and watch and maybe even have it on in the background, And so I've adopted that because I thought to myself, you know what? I do these workouts every day. I do it already anyway. Why don't I just film it and start putting it up? And I'm really enjoying it. I'm getting so much repurposed content by creating shorts out of it. And as I said before, I do have a video editor that edits for me. And so I just make my long form video and then I edit it chronologically and upload it and I upload it for him and then he turns it into all these shorts that go up as well. So I'm just getting so much content out of it. It's a lot of fun and it's giving me the freedom now to not feel the pressure to come up with ideas for ranked videos. Because now what I can do, instead of thinking, oh my God, I've got to get a video up this week, what am I going to do, and start researching. Now I'm doing so much content anyway, and I can just think, oh, you know what, I've got this idea for this video. Let's make it. And I can make it with the freedom to have the time. So I know that might scare a lot of people off thinking, oh my God, Brad's doing 2 videos a day. Like, how would anybody ever be able to do that? But just remember, we've talked about my 10-year journey with YouTube. And, something that I didn't say before about when I went live streaming, when we did live streaming, so I had an online business, I had a gym business. The online business was like a side hustle. It was like this, well, we may as well do it. There's this opportunity kind of a thing. And the gym business was where we made our money. COVID hit, we pivoted, we started doing live streaming. Within a month or 2, our online business had 5x'd and it was making double what our gym business was making before COVID. And then the gym business never recovered from COVID because where we were in North Sydney, the lockdowns and people started doing work from home and everything. And so we sold the gym and now I run an online business. So now I have this life where my life is making videos on YouTube. And that never would have happened if I hadn't have gone through all these stages that we've talked about on this show where you just see the opportunity that works for you. And right now, the opportunity that works for me is to do these daily workout vlogs. That's an opportunity that I've got that I look at and I see in front of me and I think, you know what, this is fun for me. So I'm going to pursue this. I'm going to give this a little run.
Man, such rich tips there. And I hope you're feeling that freedom too, that having the balance between like the strategic, surgical, tactical content that can bring you views for years and drive business results. As we'll be talking about on session number 5. So don't miss the next session on the challenge about the monetization strategies. And if you're getting views from a 2-year-old video that's still leading to one of your monetization strategies, that's true passive income. But also to not feel constrained, that there's the opportunity to experiment, to try new things, and to look at where the trends are going on YouTube. And so that was number 9, ranked search-based videos, but also create videos you want to make. And someone was asking about how to rank videos. By the way, that's literally why we created Video Ranking Academy. But as a reminder of a cool tool that we use called vidIQ, when we look at Unity Gym here, Rad's channel, if you click these 3 dots, you have to install vidIQ to see this, but you can go to somebody else's channel and you say view trending videos. This is my dream page because I also love leverage. Like what Rad's doing right now, I don't want to do right now. I'm not doing 2 videos a day. I'm actually looking forward to maybe some systems and some things in the future, but right now I'm just trying to stay sane. 1-year-old, 3-year-old, life's crazy out here. But when we look at this 7-month-old video here, this 5-year-old video, And this 7-month-old video that Rad has 8.7 VPH. If you haven't captured that note yet, you want to write that down. Views per hour. Not from a video this week, but still getting 8.7 views every single hour from a 7-month-old video. Remember, Christina from Beloved Women was talking about, man, I can go on vacation. I can take time off. I can stop posting. And I'm still not just getting views, but driving results for my online business. And if we look at Jennifer's channel, the same is true. And we go to Sewing Report. She's got older videos that are still getting views, and that is what a ranked video is. And so we look at a 2-year-old video that gets 3.6 views per hour. We look at a 4-year-old video that gets 2.2 views an hour. And a lot of people that I see, I get concerned if I click this on your page and I go to view trending videos and there's nothing there. Now, if you're just starting, of course, it takes time to build up, but you become unstoppable when I'm like, man, I haven't uploaded in a while, but like, boom, I got this trending videos page and I have multiple videos that are being viewed every single hour that are months old and years old. And okay, rapid fire, I got to let y'all go, but I want to really quickly here before tip number 10, just the one story, Jen, from I think a brother sewing machine. Mm-hmm. And these videos of like the PE800 embroidery machine.
I know, right? Who would have thought? I'm like, people are that into embroidery? Okay.
Yeah, so this, 546,000 views, 443,000 views, 6 years old and 4 years old. And you did a strategy we're going to be unpacking tomorrow called affiliate marketing. But what were the results like from like creating videos like that? Was it like an Amazon link, and then like did good money come in from doing those?
So I kind of, it's been a while since I sort of analyzed those videos, but I saw that there was a new, the P800 at the time was new, and I looked. So Brother, they make great products. They're very entry level, but they don't have a lot of video support. So I noticed that this company had no videos on how to use the machine. So again, I invested in it. It was fairly expensive. It was about $650 to buy the machine. I did an unboxing video, and then I did a very comprehensive video on how to use it. So this would be a high effort video for me. It included, you can see a lot of different camera shots. I did script this out because the sewing people, they'll jump all over you if you get anything wrong. So you had to make sure that I had all my information right. And, I really looked through the manual, and I did a video on just basically how to use it. Because a lot of people, especially during COVID, they got into embroidery. And I didn't realize this, but a lot of younger people are looking into starting an embroidery business, like kind of a small thing. And, they were looking at this particular machine. So I think that video got over 300,000 views. So I made some pretty decent affiliate money. And I will say this, the sewing machine video in general, anything with sewing machines has a very high CPM. Like we're talking over $30 and an RPM of like $15 to $20. So that's actually a very good type of video. And I'm sure you can probably find examples in other niches, like for tech or anything else. There's going to be certain types of videos that have a much higher CPM than normal. Like my normal CPM is probably like $15, $10 to $15. That one, it's like over $30, $35. So I made several $1,000s from that video. And then I had linked to Amazon. And in fact, I'm doing this with this machine currently. I definitely paid for the machine with all of the ad revenue. And I probably made, I tried to keep track. It's kind of hard with Amazon, but I definitely made thousands and thousands of dollars from affiliate revenue. Obviously the Amazon program, they've definitely kind of reduced their commission rate. So at the time, I think you could make like 8 to 10% on a machine. Also during COVID, sewing machines were harder to get, and the price of that machine jumped up to $1,000. So every time somebody bought one, I probably made $50 to $75. And a lot of people bought from that link. So I'll say this too. If you have a video that does really well or a series of videos, keep making those types of videos strike while the iron is hot. I think one mistake I made is that even though these were doing gangbusters, I kept doing other rando videos, and I should have gone a lot harder on making videos about the PE 800. Then the PE 900 came out about a year or two ago, so I bought that one as well to try to make videos on it. And those did pretty well, but not as good as the PE 800. And also the PE 900 was way more expensive. But then I also saw Brother was making this machine. This is called the Brother Sketch. And this is it's a very weird machine for the industry. And it was only $500. So I was like, I think I can make the ad revenue back if I get the machine. And what I didn't realize, and that this video did pretty well. I think it'll do better over time because this is actually kind of a controversial embroidery machine because Brother has made it so that it's controlled solely via an app, and people are very upset about it. And when they first released the machine, all of the good features that you would need to use it were behind a paywall that cost $12.99 a month. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of sick of everything turning into a subscription. So I did a few videos explaining to people because I felt like the company was kind of trying to hide the fact that in order to really use this, you had to pay $13 a month. So I did a few videos, and people that they kind of gained traction just because of they were a little more polarizing, and people were very upset about what Brother was doing with the paywall and with the app stuff. And after I did the videos, I got an email from Brother, which I ignored, and then they ended up changing the policy to put the important features in the free version. So I was very happy to possibly contribute to a positive change that this company did, because a lot of people didn't know that about it. It definitely paid for itself just in the ad revenue. I can continue to make more videos with the machine. So sometimes it's good to invest in things that you know are going to be sort of hot in your niche, that are popular, that are new. And the CPM for these videos are also over $30. But just in one example, that you can get something that's kind of new and talked about and buy it. I also bought another piece of tech that was fairly expensive for the channel that I'm going to do videos on, just because people want to see real reviews. And I think one thing that people appreciate about my channel is that these are not sponsored videos. I paid for it myself. So I think viewers feel like they can trust the information more because I went out and bought it with my own money, and I don't have to worry about the company kind of interjecting with the content or trying to tell me what to say or, getting their bad list. I don't really care. And I'm making enough. I feel like at this level, I think one positive thing about having a sizable channel is that you can then have the money to buy things yourself and not, again, I understand as a small creator, it's hard. And you kind of do have to rely sometimes on getting free products. But I am sort of glad to be in a position where I have a little bit more leverage with these companies and where I can also afford to buy equipment myself to review.
So I love that story, and it is cool to hear your results. And this is one of my favorite strategies. We call it RSP, Review Specific Products, or TSS, Teach Specific Skills, related to something that a community loves. What you've been doing with sewing machines, I did so deeply with cameras and tripods and tech and lighting, and then connecting that to affiliate marketing. And as a reminder, we're going to be going deeper into this on day 5, but this is one of the biggest aspects of Video Ranking Academy. Again, not that it's the only strategy or that it needs to apply all the time to all of us, but when you're just starting out, you're able to review somebody else's product. You don't have to create your own. You talk about somebody else's thing. You don't have to worry about shipping or fulfillment or customer service. Through the power of affiliate marketing, you shared so many nuggets there, and stick around because we will be covering more of that on session number 5. And also, if you are inside of Video Ranking Academy or you've jumped in, this is just, again, such a great way to start and a great way to create passive income. Rank a video, connected to affiliate marketing, so that's being viewed. Like Jen talked about, ad revenue can come in over the years and even thousands of dollars in affiliate income. And those numbers can go up and down, and different things can shift. But imagine having 10 videos ranked bringing you passive income, 30 videos ranked bringing you passive income. That was how I was originally able to go full time doing this with a tech channel called Think Media was talking about cameras, talking about lighting, talking about software, ranking videos, and then eventually replacing my income so I could be my own boss and start building up what Think Media is today. Okay, we have, thank you for your patience, Rad. Number 10 out of our 10 tips is commit to the process. How do we create more videos in less time? Is commit to the process. I'm gonna hit Rad, then we'll hit Jennifer. We gotta let them go. They've been so generous. We're 30 minutes past the hour here, but let's land the plane here. At the end of the day, Thomas Edison said, opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and it looks like work. And so talk, Rad, a little bit about you. Last time you were on the show, you talked about commit to learning and growing and putting in the work. Share a little bit about just the mindset and looking back over the years for all of us, what we can learn from about the power of commitment.
I think a lot of people get caught up in their heads. One of the things that I really reflected on last year, I had to think about where a lot of my wasted time was. And there is just so much time that I think we as humans, and I'll speak personally, that even at my stage, I would just be sitting there and I'd be thinking about things, or I'd go to my phone to break like the focus of trying to work, and I'd start scrolling and then I'd catch myself and go, oh, what am I doing? And, you know, I learned something from Alex Hormozi that I thought was really, really good. And he talks about like figure out the inputs that have the greatest leverage, that create the outputs that have the biggest impact on your business. And so you work out what those inputs are. And for me, it is actually making YouTube videos, because I actually got the statistic wrong. I looked it up when I was off camera. 76% of my business comes from YouTube. So it was really, really clear when I would look at all the tasks that I do in a day, and I thought, okay, well, making YouTube videos creates the most business for my company than anything else. So I'm just going to focus on being able to get as many good quality videos done as I can. And like, there's an example, that video that I made that I talked about that went viral on Instagram and doubled my subscribers. I made a really bad mistake in something I said. I was meant to say, when I'm teaching how to do it, I was meant to say, make your feet double shoulder width apart. But I said, bring your feet to shoulder width apart. And I clearly go double shoulder width apart. And so many people have gone, man, this dude doesn't know what shoulder width apart is. Some people have even been really rude about it. Some people have called me like, you're effing stupid and stuff. And rather than take the video down, I just comment to all of them. And I have to comment so many times. I have a saved template on my phone where I just copy and paste it, where I just say, yeah, I was meant to say double shoulder width apart. Oops. And then I did that emoji. And then people always laugh about it. And it's this idea of like, so the lesson behind that is, even when you see imperfections, that's not a reason for me to not put a video up, because if the video is getting views, and funnily enough, if it gets comments from people hating on it, that's engagement. That's telling the algorithm this is a good video. People are watching it, and people watch the video twice to comment on it. And then if you can engage in a way that is meaningful, and most people, like the people that are worthwhile, they laugh at it. And so, you know, if you just commit to doing the thing, don't worry if it's perfect or not, because the best video is the next video, and version 1 is always better than version none. Like, that was my tip that I gave last time I did this, and I cannot emphasize that enough. Version 1 is better than version none. It doesn't matter. Like, there comes a point where you're looking at it thinking, oh, how can I make this video any better? Don't worry about it. Just get it up there and get the next video out, because it's just like every video is going to be better than the last one. And if you commit to the VRA process of 1% better every time, you like within 100 videos, you'd be surprised as to how quickly that happens. It might seem so far away for you at the start, but if you just commit to the process. And the other thing that I would say is, without the risk of rambling, is goals are great and goals are an idea, but it's the systems, it's the habits that matter. So if you have a goal to get to 1,000 subscribers, that's great, but don't focus on that. Just focus on making the video, and then you focus on making the next video. And if you follow the VRA process, you know, you're focusing on, okay, research, what's my idea? What am I going to do? Okay, I've got my idea, I'm going to do this, and you just commit to it and do it.
Rad, thank you so much for that tip. We're going to have Jen land the plane in just a second, but where can people follow you? Where can people connect with you? If people want to get in shape, if they want to, from home, be able to learn a lot, you have such good free content, but of course, also you've got some products and programs. So Rad, shout out your stuff.
Of course, YouTube is by far my pillar content. So if you just search for Unity Gym, and you'll find us there, or you can do @Unity Gym online, and that's by far where all my best stuff goes. I'm on all socials, so we're on Instagram and Twitter and everything else, but it's just repurposed YouTube content, which is a great tip. And then my website, unitygym.com, is where everything is. But to get started, we have that free blueprint that you've got there. That's a really valuable piece of content there. But yeah, if you go to unitygym.com, that's where we offer 2 flexibility programs and then my online coaching. And my online coaching is all about combining strength and flexibility together into the same workout. So that's it.
Show some love for Rad in the chat. Rad, thank you so much. Appreciate you. So many bombs dropped. And tip number 10 is commit to the process. Version 1 is better than version none. Get started. Punch fear in the face. Commitment is the foundation of all great accomplishments. But I do want to hear a shout out after Jen shares her thoughts on this. Jen, you've been successful in multiple different arenas, like all of us that have done anything. You've also experienced the pain and the pressure and the challenges that come with doing anything. What have you learned about the power of committing to the process and persevering?
Yeah, I would say this: if you want to be a full-time content creator, you really have to love this, or learn to love. There are certainly some non-fun things you have to do as a content creator, but I think if I wasn't truly passionate about this and I didn't really love making the videos, there's no way I would be able to do this full-time, self-employed for the past 6 years or so. So yeah, I think Rad's right that you do need, you do have to really be committed, because this is not an easy path. I think our mutual friend Roberto Blake, he always drops some stats on how many videos actually get over 10,000 views, or how many channels actually have 100,000 subscribers. And I think for the silver play button, it's like it's definitely less than 1%. In fact, most channels don't even have 10,000 subscribers. So going this road, I think people think it looks kind of easy. They're like, oh, whatever, there's not much to it. But it's not an easy thing to do, and it's definitely not easy to sustain over a long period of time. There's going to be some periods where you're like, I don't know, we've seen now, there's a trend of YouTubers quitting. So a lot of people doing this for the long run it's not easy. You can get burnout, you feel unsure yourself, or sometimes your channel might not be doing that. I've had some high and low periods for sure. But I think I keep getting inspired, and I keep trying to make the channel better and the content better. And I think there's also some very exciting things happening with the YouTube platform and with live streaming. YouTube is constantly coming out with new tools to make things better for creators. I think with AI and technology, content creation is going to get easier, but that still doesn't negate you being a good storyteller and you making content people want to watch.
Such great tips. And, I love, one of our hopes is that people hear the message too. Like, we're not saying this is a get rich quick thing. We're not saying this is easy. And one of our biggest passions and why we've always been obsessed with systems, but even in 2024, is as we look at the possibility for fatigue and how can this be sustainable. And so many people have values here of peace of mind and serenity and family and kids, and not making their whole life about business or anything else. And what is the wisdom it takes? What are the systems we can apply to every area so that we can still be standing 3 years, 6 years, 10 years later doing this? And as Steve Jobs said, business is a game of attrition.
Yeah.
And that people will fall off. Sometimes maybe we go too hard. And, Jen, I don't know if you know, because we talk about we want to help 1 million purpose-driven people create a full-time living doing what they love on YouTube, but experience that success without losing their soul. Just knowing that sometimes this creator journey can be all-consuming, but that would be the wrong approach. If we go all in, I heard Layla Hermosi talk about that too. We actually don't get burnt out from hard work. We get burnt out if we're not doing work we truly love and we don't find really the right rhythm. I think if you've got Shelby Church's video about this whole thing too, who's been in it since she was like 13 or something, still going, but not as hard as some people went. The idea of a marathon, it's a marathon and not a sprint. The idea of a marathon is you don't run a marathon like a 100-meter dash. You don't run a marathon like a sprint race. You pace yourself. You hydrate along the way. You get a little gel shot to get some electrolytes and nutrition along the way because there's a lot of mileage there. And so our hope is that in this challenge, people can learn a better way to approach these creator type of businesses. So Jen, thank you so much. Massive love. Let us know, what was your aha from Rad? What was your aha from Jen? What did you like best? And then shout out what you're doing. I love it. We can look at all the channels, and so people could see and expect the different things you're doing. So let us know where people can connect with you.
Yeah, sure. I'm at the Sewing Report. I don't, and you know what? I think that's Rad's success, especially with this sales boom. I think that also shows that the best way to use YouTube is if you're promoting your own business. And that's the thing. I've struggled with it a little bit more because I have an Etsy shop where I sell sewing supplies, but I'm not promoting like a gym or promote, so I think you need to figure out what is the business if you want to do this full time and actually make money. What's the business angle? And I think that's one area where I could probably improve myself. I don't really have a lot to sell other than the sewing supplies. Diversify your income. Try to find different ways. Don't just rely on YouTube AdSense for sure. I previously worked with a real estate client, and she made way more money from her much smaller channel because she was selling an expensive product. So if you have, and I think I see a lot of business owners that don't really take advantage of, like I was telling a guy yesterday, I was advising him, I was like, you should do a channel on your business. Look at what you can do. I mean, there's so many things you can do with YouTube. If you have a small business or even a large business, there's really no reason you shouldn't be trying to use YouTube for your marketing because you can really take you places you never thought you could get. I know a lot of creators are kind of suffering the burnout, and I gotta say, I haven't really had the burnout thing happen to me. I still feel like I'm about 7 years in. I still feel like I have a ton left in the tank and fresh video ideas. So I think you also have to realize, what channel can you do that has a long shelf life that's still going to be relevant in 20 years? Because if you want to have this be your career, it can't be on like a fad or something that's kind of short term, but something that's something that has a lot that will still be relevant 10, 20 years from now, and something that where you can keep coming up with new video ideas without running out. So I think if you can figure that out, that'll really help. But yeah, luckily I haven't really experienced that. I can definitely empathize with those people, but I haven't really experienced that myself.
Oh man, so encouraging to hear. And it sounds, because I think wisdom is a better way, and you shared so much wisdom today. That was a bomb right there. What channel could you commit to that's not going to be a fad? Man, sometimes in the internet and people that watch, or that are drop shipping, crypto, and all these things are cool, but certain fads come and go. I'm not suggesting both of those things are great, but there are certain fads, and so we want to be calculated, so wise to look ahead and think about. Sewing is a great point. There's always going to be sewing and crafting and DIY culture, and it's going to evolve, and there's going to be new brother machines that have apps and different things to navigate through, but being positioned well is such a key to longevity. Jen, thank you so much. Thank you so much for years ago investing in VRA and being a part of our community, and also just being such a world-class human being. We ran into each other at events, and I know you're so engaged in the creator economy overall, and you just have an incredible reputation and such a great spirit, and people are loving. I hope you're seeing the chat.
Thank you.
All of the wisdom and tips that you share.
Yes, if you can, don't use a teleprompter. It's gonna be, if you're starting out, I think later on, if you try to use the teleprompter, it won't be as much of a crutch. A real-time story, when I was working at a TV station years ago, I had a coworker who was a new reporter, and there was some breaking news, and she literally wouldn't go to this assignment because she wouldn't have any scripts. So that doesn't look good when you're at work and you're turning down an assignment because You literally can't ad-lib anything. So I think the ability to ad-lib, the ability to speak freely is probably one of the biggest advantages you can have as a creator and as a personality that will give you an edge over all the people that are relying on just reading something.
So good. We'll give it up, Jen. We're sending you massive love and appreciation. Your time is so valuable, so thank you for spending it with us today. If you enjoyed this content and want to take your YouTube channel to the next level, just click or tap the link on the screen or go to tube1kchallenge.com to join our next live YouTube challenge. You'll learn our best tips and strategies that are working here at Think Media, and I think you'll love it.
With up to 40 grams of high-quality protein, Muscle Milk Pro helps rebuild muscles after exercise to help your muscles do more every day, from the ordinary days to the extraordinary days. Muscle Milk. Own your strength.
Mom! Yeah? I fell. Okay, there's bandages in the cabinet. I'm bleeding. Grab two.
Sheba, what cats want.
Not optimizing for the algorithm, you're optimizing for people.
What are the different ways that entrepreneurs and people in general can monetize YouTube?
You got to ask yourself, is YouTube the business and is content the business itself? Or is YouTube a marketing channel for your existing business? When Mr. Beast was interviewed on the Joe Rogan podcast, he said if people would just put 20% more effort into an individual video, they could get 10 times more views. The fastest way to go viral on YouTube.
Can you give us an example of a sales funnel for like a coach or an entrepreneur? Like what would that sales funnel look like on YouTube?
So how exactly does the YouTube algorithm work, and how can you take advantage of that information so that you can make better videos and get more views? In this episode of the Think Media podcast, I'm actually going to be diving into some advanced tips on the algorithm, on SEO, and on even YouTube paid ad strategies, as well as much more. I usually don't get to talk about this kind of stuff, but this is actually part 2 of my conversation with Hala Taha from the Young and Profiting podcast. And man, this conversation was so rich that I just wanted to share it with you here. Now, today's episode is brought to you by thinkmasterclass.com, a free 1-hour YouTube masterclass that you can check out. There's a link in the show notes, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. For now, let's dive straight into this content.
So let's talk about the different ways that entrepreneurs and people in general can monetize YouTube. What are the different ways? And maybe can you take us the different ways based on like when you're just starting out to when like you've built a following? What are the best ways to monetize?
Yeah, so the best way to monetize when you're just starting out on YouTube day one. Also, if you don't have an offer and a sales process or a sales funnel yet, the very best way to get started is affiliate marketing and even JV relationships. What's exciting about this is you can start a real business adding value through free content on YouTube, and when appropriate, giving calls to action and integrating in affiliate relationships. And so let's say you started a YouTube channel about productivity for W-2s and entrepreneurs and the best tools for that. So then you can make a video on how to use ClickUp or how to use money.com or ClickUp versus money.com or Slack versus ClickUp. Well, all these different SaaS products, software as a service, have affiliate programs. And by using your affiliate link, putting it in the video, adding value, and then educating about it, you can not only get a commission if someone purchases the software, but oftentimes you get continuity. You may be paid every month. So I think about like one of my friends, Pat Flynn, who has a podcast called Smart Passive Income. And through talking about an email CRM, I believe it was ConvertKit or something, and there's Aweber and there's been these other ones, but I think it was ConvertKit, fill in the blank, whatever CRM. Through adding like valuable content, people signed up for it and he got continuity. And I want to say it led to like $30,000 a month in reoccurring. There is actually a YouTube software that we recommend that we're at about $22,000 in reoccurring revenue a month. Because again, it's not just the transaction that person signs up on. When someone gets this tool, loves it, uses it for years. 99% of people listening to this have things they pay for monthly that they love. And so if you were the originator of that transaction, what's cool about that is from day one, if you make the right videos, especially if it was something search-based, and we could spin off on 1,000 different ways to make money as an affiliate, but for conversation's sake, if you were to do ConvertKit versus Active Campaign 2024, really break down the pros and cons, and those are email CRMs, then you could affiliate link to both. This could be your first video on your channel, and that video could get discovered, get views, and get transactions, and you could have $50 of reoccurring revenue a month, $300 of reoccurring a month over a couple weeks, especially the video keeps getting views. And that's what we teach people. Like, our favorite thing to do is rank videos in search. Like, create a video today that keeps getting viewed for weeks, months, and years to come. And not just rank videos in search. Our definition of ranking is rank videos also in suggested, which simply means either someone types in a search and the video shows up on the first page, or as people start looking for things, the video gets recommended at the end of other videos or suggested by the YouTube algorithm. Either way, if you can get views while you snooze, you've got a ranked video. And if you've connected it to an income stream like affiliate marketing, you're in a sweet spot. Good news about that is you don't have to be monetized by YouTube yet to start earning money. You could pretty much start from day one. The second thing I would say is once you hit 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time, you could apply it to the YouTube Partner Program. YouTube will start paying you for views on your videos. And for 99% of entrepreneurs listening to this, I wouldn't recommend focusing on this. However, just talk to my friend Lewis Howes. He makes tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars in terms of YouTube ad revenue. Not even his core business, but the size of his show has grown to such a level. We make around $500,000 a year from the views on our videos, YouTube ad revenue. Now, if you spin off YouTube other income streams, you can make super chats. When you're live or premiering a video, somebody can basically tip you. People can also actually tip you. You have to make sure you turn this on. So one of the smallest tweaks for an established creator that's like a business owner who doesn't even think about this stuff is to just turn on these features, because sometimes by default they're turned off. And when it's called like tip jar or thank you. They can do a thank you. It's like $2, $3, $5. So if you just add great content, people out of the goodness of their heart will just tip on a video. And you can do super chats, super stickers. That gets more into like the gaming, entertainment, live stream. But if you got, fans, they could buy certain stickers. You got channel memberships. People are probably very familiar with memberships. I recommend doing them off platform because YouTube takes 30%. If you had $100,000 worth of reoccurring revenue a month, they'd take $30,000 if it was all through their channel memberships.
Is that kind of like premium subscription type?
It'd be like premium subscription, and you could just upload exclusive content. You could do exclusive live streams. There's an exclusive community tab. So you just have kind of a sub community. Now, the benefit is that YouTube does all the heavy lifting and you don't got to go anywhere else or whatever. So it could bring you peace of mind. But no matter what, at low dollar figures, but it's really painful at higher dollar figures. I'm like, shoot. And if I had all those people integrated, you wouldn't want them to lead. I'd be like, I don't want to give you $30,000 a year. Anyways, because you could use Kajabi or School or these other things, and you can save a lot off that. However, you do have to move people off platform. So there's a lot of super chats, channel memberships, super stickers, thank yous. YouTube shopping is integrated now, similar to TikTok shopping. And you could go direct with different retailers. It's basically like affiliate marketing, but on YouTube Shorts, you could point to things. And this wouldn't just only be if you're like a fashion, makeup, or skincare channel. This would include cameras and tech and consumer electronics. And they might pay you 5, 10, 15%. So you can look in the back end what retailers there are. So then I think the biggest thing, though, for this audience is just this idea that you got to ask yourself, is YouTube the business and is content the business itself? Or is YouTube a marketing channel for your existing business? So I think leads becomes the biggest opportunity to your own products or services. And you can start doing that day one without your channel being monetized. So I think about one of our students, Jen DeVore Richter. When she had 546 subscribers, she emailed us and said, I just had my biggest revenue week ever in my business, $11,000, because of what I implemented from your program, Video Ranking Academy. Thank you so much. and she only had 546 subscribers. And her videos were getting 26 views, 88 views, a couple hundred. Her best video is a couple thousand. She hadn't even crossed 1,000 subscribers yet. Her channel wasn't even monetized. But if her channel got monetized by YouTube with those amount of views, they'd be paying her like $6. She'd be at a level like $22. Whereas she had an $11,000 new week, which that's why for business owners and entrepreneurs, the question then becomes, how can I create a video that will attract my ideal audience? How can I then add value in that video that builds trust and helps them get to know me? And then what call to action can I give that they'd be interested in to something probably free or even just to book a call? We help a lot of loan officers and real estate agents. A lot of that is just add value and like jump on the phone with us. Like, you know, add value, fill out the form, and then we'll follow up. So then it's on you. I mean, you've had many guests and you're an expert yourself. Your sales process is now taking people off of YouTube. How good are you at follow up? How good is it? Is it email follow up? Is it social selling? Is it they are going to book a call? And then that's up to you. But the power is that YouTube itself can then drive traffic into that funnel, if you will, and you could start monetizing instantly when you start creating smart content. You know, one other story that's interesting is I think about my friend Levi Lassick, read our book, YouTube Secrets, his business partner, Travis Plum, Dallas real estate agents. Small team, like, in their real estate shop, they have 6 people working for them or something. As far as marketing goes, they're not investing in any marketing. No billboards, no yellow pages, no classified ads, which, by the way, I mean, if
Lifesavers gummies. Up the wow.
On Professional, its grease-cutting suds last 2 times longer, so you can wash double the pots in just one sink. Dawn Professional Manual Pot and Pan. And try Dawn Professional Power Wash with a unique formula that cleans greasy surfaces and pots and pans fast.
Ok, ¿listo para evitar hablar del salario?
Try Crest 3D White. Finally, a daily whitening toothpaste for whiter teeth in one day.
Use kayak to compare hundreds of travel sites at once? I like to do things myself. No machine is better than me.
Kayak. Search one and done.
no classified ads, which, by the way, I mean, if whatever works, like as a digital YouTube guy, I'm all for traditional stuff if it's going to work. But all they did was focus on organic YouTube content, not even paid ads, not paid Facebook ads, not paid leads from Zillow. His focus on creating YouTube content after reading our book and kind of thinking about that. And wouldn't you believe it? After 6 months, how many transactions had they converted in their business? 0. How is that for a good news? Like, that's pretty exciting. I mean, but I love this story because it's realistic. They committed, seeing, okay, I could see that in my local market. For them, it was Dallas. Their channel's called Living in Dallas. So they do neighborhood tours, house tours, pros and cons of moving to Dallas, things, different neighborhoods, all this stuff. 6 months. They got some leads, no transactions. I think it's around 2021. In the following 12 months, they do $90 million. Wow. Which leads to about 2.9 collected real estate commissions, 2.9 million. And from just organic YouTube traffic. They started realizing that, if they're getting 10,000 views a month, that equals like 77 leads. And here's also what's crazy about the leads. Forget my numbers there. I don't remember what the numbers are, but the leads were so qualified. He told me stories of DocuSigns getting signed. They never met the person. They go, oh yeah, no, I trust you. Whatever. I've been watching your videos. It's kind of weird to be on the phone with you. I've been watching your videos. Like, I already know, like, and trust you. I already have got a vibe. I feel like I already know you. Or when they meet in person, there's already like rapport. And even though Levi might be meeting them for the first time, this person had got to know them in video. They tapped into search, discovery, search terms, as well as kind of viral approaches. Should I buy a house now? Is the market crashing? All this different stuff. And only using YouTube. And again, as they've scaled, you start realizing we can hire somebody, we can do paid ads. Why not? Like, I mean, if anything works, keep scaling it up. But that's just the power. And to that point, I want to say that at the end of nearly $3 million in revenue, their channel was still under 5,000 subscribers.
Wow.
A small YouTube channel, but they were attracting the right people with the right, and I've heard real estate called high ticket affiliate marketing, because if you recommend $10 lipstick and you get 3%, then you just made 30 cents. But if you sell $1 million house and you get 3%, then you just made $30,000. So really, real estate is like high ticket affiliate marketing. And let me throw in one nugget for your community. I think the other, if you were looking for kind of a business model or like the shortest path to making big money with a small channel, JV partnerships would be the best way to do that. Meaning being an affiliate for somebody else that has an event, coaching program, mastermind, or course. And the reason why is because of percentages. Amazon gives me 4% on cameras and ticket price. But let's say it's $1,000 camera, I get 4%, I make $40. If you recommended somebody's educational program that was $1,000, probably you're going to get a 50% commission. You'd make $500. So this is just a leverage conversation. So if you could start creating videos, and one example, if you go to a website like clickbank.com, you could find somebody's like marathon training program. So if you started like a running channel, marathon training, and maybe you're also like, well, I'm not really an expert, but I'm a hobbyist. And like, this is the marathon training program I did. My stepbrother, Alan Eskelin, did an Ironman, and he paid for a couple $1,000 program because Ironmans are no joke. So if he documented his journey and got other people inspired and then recommends that as an affiliate, he can make thousands of dollars in a commission. If he learns how to rank videos, passive income, I mean, you only need 100 transactions if you make $1,000 commission to make six figures. So I think that this kind of goes into that framework of you could be a knowledge broker, a reporter, and eventually the expert. I think one of the coolest ways to start a YouTube channel is to be a reporter, to kind of do what you're doing, and you could bring on other guests, a knowledge broker of other people's knowledge. And when they have products and programs, you recommend those. And again, you might be getting 77 views on your videos, 376 views on your videos. But if you're attracting the right people with the right titles and the right information, and then someone's like, oh, cool, I can go deeper with this person, then that would be so, compared to a super chat, someone tipping you $3 on YouTube. And that's where 99% of creators are stuck, is they're kind of in a somewhat small-minded money mentality by not thinking about better vehicles to earn bigger income.
So smart. So many things that I want to kind of dive deep on. And one thing that I want to add is sponsorships, right? So once you actually have an audience, you can do things like what I do. If you guys are watching my channel, I'm always doing like host read ads that sponsors are paying me for. But of course, it just depends on how far along you are, because you need thousands of views for that to actually make sense monetarily. So you mentioned this at a high level, but I'm curious to understand, can you give us an example of a sales funnel for like a coach or an entrepreneur? Like, what would that sales funnel look like on YouTube?
So my favorite way to do it, and this gets very granular, is I like teaching, and I like teaching with numbers. So if you're a coach, what's 3 things? So insert pain point that you solve. 3 little known tax strategies to save thousands for business owners. Pretty sick title. You get in the video. Number 1, Augusta rule. Number 2, cost seg bonus depreciation. After number 2, tie in the second point that you have a free thing that goes deeper on it. And by the way, if you want access to my cost seg bonus depreciation calculator, if you want or just in the whole video, if you want my guide, these are just 3 of the strategies. If you want my guide with 21 of the best tax strategies for entrepreneurs, just hit the link in the description or go to thinktaxstrategies.com. That doesn't exist, but you give that pretty URL. Maybe it does. I don't know. So not ours though. And one of the reasons why I like making it point number 2 though, is because if it polarizes the right people to download it, good. But it's also going to potentially stop the viewing session, which is not what YouTube wants most. I think you absolutely should call people off the platform, but do it in such a way that also people could stay on, and there's still a reason for them to stay on for the next point. So that's why I would do that on point number 2, and I would tie it to the point. Like, you teach a little bit about that, and then you're like, hey, listen, if you actually want to go deeper, my entire LinkedIn Navigator deep dive training, I would give it to you for free. It's 20 minutes long. Just, click the link in the description. So that's how I would do it. And then it's kind of like online marketing best practices. I think the naming of whatever you're giving away free, the desire of what you're giving away free, alignment on the entire thing, and congruency. Congruency is that when they land on the page, they're on the right page. People have horrible landing pages, navigation above, it doesn't even seem like it's them. There's not authority there, it doesn't load. It's like malware notification. There's all kind, it's kind of stressful. Someone's like, man, there's so many things, but there's a lot of, you just want to remove friction. And at any point, and where sometimes the biggest mistake is like, you're making a video that have people thinking one way and giving a call to action that's not related. Think about what video would attract the ideal person for your opt-in. What opt-in would attract the ideal person for your offer? And those things are broken all the time in people's businesses. Like, someone opts in, but they're not the right psychology, psychographics, demographics, because it was a cool free thing, but did it really align? And then the YouTube videos, and if you were talking about how to hire team members in a video, and then you were like, and by the way, if you want to download my 21 tax savings guide, like, not horrible, because maybe some people are like, that does sound interesting, but the video that the reason they're there, the better guide would be a freebie that's like, and if you want to get my scripts, my job interview scripts for how to really filter out the wrong candidates and lock in the right candidates, just go to thinkhiringscripts.com or click the link in the description. So that would be my biggest thing, is like, I think the strategy of the content that attracts the right people, then the opt-in that ties together congruency in the whole thing. And then again, a good sales process and funnels. You probably have endless episodes in your own library of some good stuff on making great funnels. But what's powerful about that is it is a psychology everybody listening to this needs to know. Thinking about their whole, you could call it sales journey, the whole customer journey, thinking about the entire thing start to finish. And that is a never-ending process of tweaking. All of us could improve it. Ours is probably a 6 out of 10, and we've done pretty well. Like, there's so many, things that small tweaks lead to giant peaks. And so just being willing to be like, can I change my opt-in in the future? Can I change my offer page? And it's not even just my offer page, the checkout page and the thank you page, and then follow up, and what do I want to do next? And is that all aligned? And usually when things are not working, it's just because a piece is broken and there's some kind of like cognitive dissonance that happens or something. Sometimes from YouTube to your landing page, it's not quite what it will look like, and all these little details like that.
One of my favorite things to do right now is to take every sales funnel that we have and like break it down into each actionable chunk, get all the historic data, understand like all the different averages for click rates, conversion rates, and then you're able to see like, where is everything falling apart? Where is the leak? Where do I need to improve? And you can even do like bottom up forecasting, where you can say like, okay, if I want to generate $50,000, I need to get from the bottom, like I need to send out this many DMs. I need to get this many clicks. This many people need to show up to my webinar. This many people need to convert. And you can kind of just like work backwards. But it first starts with being intentional, like intentional when you're designing it, intentional to track your data, intentional to get your averages, and then think about where you can improve.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple more growth strategy questions for you. In terms of growing your channel organically, you said like very important to get top of the search results. Also, the suggested sidebar is really important. So how can we get better at actually being discovered organically on YouTube?
So there's 2 big ways to get discovered on YouTube. The first is YouTube suggested. The second is YouTube search. The fastest way to go viral on YouTube is to tap into YouTube suggested. That is the YouTube recommended engine. That is 75% of views basically come from YouTube recommending content. And the true generator of virality is YouTube putting your video on people's homepages, putting in the suggested feed, and then the velocity of as people are exposed to the title and the thumbnail, they click on it, they watch it, and YouTube promotes it to more people, and they click on it and they watch it. That's the viral side. The remaining 25% of traffic is from people searching on Google or YouTube or elsewhere. External traffic, you can send an email to your list, go watch my video, share on social media. And there are a few other surfaces, channel pages, internal, you'd like playlists. So let's go in reverse then and say, to tap into search though, even though it's not as viral, what I love about it is it's practical. It's slow and steady wins. And it also is very much evergreen because sometimes viral can go up, but then it goes down. And some people are known for maybe getting a lot of views on a singular video. They can't sustain the pace of always trying to make these viral videos. So they disappear. So for example, like our channel is so heavily search-based, we like can't drop under 4 million long form views a month. It's just, we just like stay there because of our library. It's like anti-fragile, unbreakable. It's a mindset that a lot of people can't even relate to because some people might then hit a 10 million viewed month, but then they fall off and they just have like these, it's like a yo-yo diet. So what I love about search-based is even though it might be slower, it's kind of like compound interest or investing slowly or letting your real estate appreciate slowly. It's like just a long-term mindset. And so search-based would be about using keyword research tools, of understanding psychology, what are people searching for, and writing good titles, of course, still making good content, title, thumbnail, content, description, some video optimization, and going into it knowing I'm optimizing my video for search. Now, there's also, it's kind of two different ways of thinking because how you'd optimize your video for search, you might title your video, how to interview potential employees. That would be a search-based title. Probably not viral, that niche and business advice like that usually wouldn't go viral anyways. But the thing about that, right, is it becomes a resource that may be watched for the next 10 years, depending, so that's what's kind of cool. Now, interesting thing you can do though, is the suggested angle on that same video would be one outrageous mistake business owners make when hiring. That's still niche, but that's the kind of titles that are going viral right now. It's more open loop, more curiosity based, less how to keyword format. So if I look at some of our even newest podcasts, which we kind of do both, but I mean, we just did an interview with Lewis Howes. It's called 85 Minutes of Strategic Content Tactics with Lewis Howes. We don't even say what it is. Now, some people might say Lewis Howes on AI, personal branding, and the state of influencer marketing in 2024. That's another. So I think it's just picking and choosing your positioning. Genius personal branding tips with Chris Do. I'm thinking if the person has authority or not, if they aren't known, I may not even include them in the title. This gets into the tactic of naming your YouTube videos different than your audio podcast too, because audio podcasts cannot see thumbnails. And they also longer, more detailed of what you're about to get. This is hard for us to sustain. We're talking about it right now as like the track of how they're positioned differently. But here's one. This YouTube strategy will guarantee views in 2024. So, and then the thumbnail is kind of an open loop. So that would be that target there would be suggested, because then it's like, what YouTube strategy? Whereas if I said how to use affiliate marketing to make money with YouTube. Interesting thing is that title probably wouldn't perform super great, but would be rankable over the long haul for people that already know what affiliate marketing is. Whereas the reverse would be how to make thousands of dollars a month with this simple YouTube strategy. And the answer in the video is affiliate marketing. So that's pretty high level. I mean, in terms of, are we going after suggested? Are we going after search? If you get really advanced to this stuff, you can pivot later, ride suggested for a few months, the video kind of tapers off, then pivot it to make it search based.
Yeah.
You can edit it, yeah. And it's kind of, now it's like down, it's already got its established watch time. But sometimes the problem with the suggested style is like, if we even want to search our own library, and we do have like a customer service and stuff, and they try to link our videos, they can't find it. If they search affiliate marketing, because you can search a channel, there's a little search bar on people's channels on desktop. Well, it doesn't come up because it just is like how to make $1,000 with this one strategy. So I'm not trying to overwhelm the listener to be indecisive, but those would be two different skill sets to master. And what I've noticed is that a lot of people lean on one or the other, and the most, powerfully positioned creators tap into both. Like they just think what's best for this content, and they have it's like diversification of your portfolio too. You've got long-term search-based evergreen videos ranking, and then you also got some breakout videos that are crushing. Like I did a video about an AI tool. If I would have just revealed what the tool was, it wouldn't have done nearly as well, because no one knows about the tool yet. There's a good book, a couple books to get. There's one called like Great Leads. Something like that. And, but it's kind of like awareness. Yeah, it's called Great Leads by Michael Masterson. But it has to do with awareness of where the audience is right now. So if you give away too much in the title, it means they're already problem aware. Are they problem aware? Are they solution aware? Are they pain point aware? How broad? And we call it the mass appeal method. If you're going to go more viral, you want to be more mass appeal. Whereas if you go all the way down to like solution aware, so it's like how to use ClickUp step by step is like solution aware, whereas how to overcome overwhelm and organize your digital life. ClickUp is the answer, but you went much broader, like, oh, I'm overwhelmed and I want to organize my life. So I think learning the layers. So I did a video called "This AI Tool Creates Videos in Seconds with No Editing." With a sick thumbnail. Video has 418,000 views. It's getting 115 views per hour, and it's 17x outlier score. It's doing 17 times better than other videos on the channel and still going up. So it's getting tons of clicks. But you don't know what the tool is. It's creating videos in seconds. What? No editing? What? Like all this curiosity around it. And you'll notice a lot of the quote unquote viral videos for us. We also say VFM, viral for me. So it encouraged the listener. If you get 50 views on your videos, then following some of these tips, if you get 500, that's viral for you. You just got 10x views, like viral for me. We might be able to get you 1,000x, because if you get 50 views, then if you get 50,000, you just got 1,000x more views. Using these strategies could be that, okay, would it be appropriate? And then the final thing in all of that is, as skilled as you get at kind of like psychology, copywriting, and I could even say ethical clickbait writing, because clickbait is manipulative and deceptive, but you need to learn how to get the click. So just you want to do it ethically. To do so, what's so important in all of this is not just trying to come up with some amazing title, but then realizing the content doesn't deliver. You want there to be congruence there. And so the dream is to say, okay, I brainstorm, even if I'm working by myself, we now do it as a team. But if I do it by myself, I never write only one title for a video. I always write at least 5. And then I say, after I've just challenged myself to write 5, to come up with 5, use AI, ChatGPT, massage it myself, look at this, look at that, boom, I got at least 5. Then I can score it. A tip is also, if you have a Facebook group or you have some way to survey, there's limited characters on X and some other platforms, but the YouTube community tab gives you enough characters. I did it this morning. I took 5 titles of a video that I wanted to pivot because it wasn't doing that well, posted them on the YouTube community tab. People voted. One had a distinct outlier winner. 50% of people voted for the winner. The next highest was 21%. That right there, only 103 votes. That right there, small data will map to big data. So that will tell you which title is best. So challenge yourself to write 5 titles, write it all down. But sometimes the best one, then my final question is like, yeah, but do I really actually deliver on that in the video? That's a good title. That's a really good open loop. But does the video let people down after that? Because making short-term decisions to get a click that ends up leaving people feeling dissatisfied after watching the video or deceived is the wrong move for your brand. But writing clickbait titles that actually deliver on the promise, thus being ethical, is the ultimate skill set in 2024 for not just winning on YouTube, but I think winning with copy across platforms. This episode is brought to you by StreamYard. StreamYard is our go-to platform here at Think Media for live streaming to Facebook and YouTube and for recording our video podcast. It has an incredibly easy to use interface for built-in branding, transitions, text lower thirds, and seamlessly bringing on guests. And they just added an awesome new feature called local recording. This allows you to take the quality to another level by separating out your audio and video from your guests, giving you more control over your content for later use. This feature is perfect for video and podcast creators, and so to get a special deal on StreamYard right now and to see all the features that are included, just go to streamwiththink.com. That is streamwiththink.com.
So the other question that I have about getting searched and ranked is the algorithm, because I know that every social platform is considering different metrics to decide whether or not they're going to serve content to users on the platform. So what are the different metrics that you think the YouTube algorithm is judging to decide whether or not they'll show your video to users in the suggested feed, or even like, I guess the suggested feed?
With 25 grams of protein and 0 sugar, Muscle Milk Genuine helps support active muscles throughout the day to help you build strength for your real life, your best life. Muscle Milk, own your strength.
Gravity to fire for life. Times for life.
Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear has wavy edges.
It's no ordinary square. Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear has wavy perforations that
Listen to this, just take my word for it, because I don't know how much YouTube you consume. But if you do consume YouTube, watch what